Namaskar and good morning. At the onset, I would like to thank the panelists for their time and look forward to hearing from them. I'm Dr. Mukund from UNDP, representing the SDG from Government of Karnataka. This year is a year of global challenges and we are at the end of it, thankfully. But the challenges have posed a lot of opportunities. We have seen many innovations this year, and if I may localize it, like in SDGs, Jugaad. So we have seen a lot of good Jugaad from this year, good innovations from the youth. The youth of this country have contributed to many of the development activities, help in COVID. There have been lots of activities where, like, mobilizing food for the laborers, helping out people in the pandemic. So we thought, why not mainstream a lot of activities that the youth of this nation have done and correlate it with the sustainable development activities that are mandated. Karnataka, even before the lockdown, the youth of Karnataka started making masks and distributing it to the people in COVID. So we have a lot of energy and enthusiasm. In short, we have a lot of potential from the youth. But this energy has to be channelized, and the people who channelize them are their mentors and academia. And as we call them, the gurus. So we thought from SDGCC, we have a platform where we have these mentors and the youth on a single platform where we can interact with them, have their views. So let me dive in directly into the session. The first session comprises of broad policymakers, the movers and shakers who, through their innovative ideas and through their decision making, shape national and global programs. Now, we would request the panelists to share their views in about 8 minutes of time. If there is a question from our viewers, we have a lot of attendance and we have used a lot of queries already pouring in. We shall have it at the end of this session. Each session, we shall pose the questions to the panelists so that the questions related to the panel can be attended immediately. All the participants are requested to post their questions in the chat box. I will be joined by two young people, Pratik and Sneha from Youth Collab, Pratik from UNDP. Since this is for the youth have to moderate it. So they'll be joining in moderating and interacting with all of us. Let me introduce the first panelist, the group of the first panelists that we are. We shall be interacting with Dr. Shalini Rajneesh, Ms. Nadia Rashid of UNDP, Mr. Srinivas from Government of Karnataka, and Mr. Ramanan from Atal Innovation Mission. I welcome all of you to this panel.
Thanks, Mukund.
Dr. Shalini Rajneesh, well, I could not compress all her achievements into a single slide, so I've just taken up whatever I could deem fit. She is the award winner, Prime Minister Sakala Award, National E-Governance Award, Google Innovation Award, National Award for Best Panchayat Raj, the Best IAS Award with 12 honors and publication, 12 honors and awards. 21 publications was when I did it, but this morning she released one more, so it will be 22 publications. Ma'am, may I request you to inaugurate this session and set the context and tone for the sessions. Then we will have Ms. Nadia Rashid and then the youth who are there to introduce themselves before we move on to Mr. Ramana and the Commissioner for Youth Empowerment. Request you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mukund. First of all, let me thank UNDP and my team here in Karnataka from UNDP to help us organize this beautiful program for the youth, Youth for Youth and Youth for Nation. We all know that our youth comprise of about 40% of our population, and it's the most vibrant sector of our population on whom depends the vibrance of our economy and our society as well. So, Mukund, I would request you to share the presentation on SDG and youth. Uh, I would like to just introduce this issue on SDG 2030. SDG means Sustainable Development Goals for those who are not aware of it. Next slide, please. Where there are 17 goals which have been given in a time-bound manner. That means by 2030, we should achieve goals like no poverty, no hunger, good health for all, quality education for all, gender equality for 50% of our population, affordable and clean energy for our society. Back to the slide, please. In this manner, we have goal number 8, which talks of decent work and economic growth for all. I'm sure all the youth, after their educational or skill orientation, are look forward to a decent work and which contributes to the economic growth of the country. So where do we want them to be by 2030? Then about the innovation, industry and infrastructure, which is really the steam engine for any growth activity in the country. Reducing inequalities, the kind of inequalities our constitution has spoken about that they should not be there, but practically they still continue. Can we aim and aspire that by 2030 they will all be over? Yes, we can, and it can be done only if our youth takes up that leadership. Goal 11 talks about sustainable cities and communities. We all know about the Smart Cities program. We have to make our communities also as sustainable, and that is possible only when the young people from the community take the leadership and take up those ideas and actions which are necessary for sustainability. Goal number 13, 14 and 15 talk about basically our health of our planet, the global changes that we are finding in climate change, or whether it is below poverty or on land. Are we not all supposed to play a very important role to ensure that our planet, our climate, our environment is sustainable? Otherwise, none of us, the entire life sustainability will be in question. Goal number 16 talks about peace, justice, and strong institutions. With all the acts, constitution, and law and everything in place, is everybody happy with the kind of dispensation of justice? Do we have peace, which can then lead to our prosperity? Is a question which all of us need to handle and support. And finally, the global partnerships, not just partnership within the countries, among the countries, but also the partnership with different stakeholders. And in this series, we seek the partnership with the youth of our state in achieving all these goals in at least coming 10 years. Next slide, please. The question that would come to the mind of most of us is, what is the relevance of SDGs in universities? Can you close this window? So we understand the important role that universities have to play, because they are the knowledge institutions and they play a very critical role. How? Through education, research, innovation, and leadership development. That is what transforms the society from a non-sustainable or less sustainable to a sustainable society. And that is why we want a full participation of all the universities and knowledge institutions to implement these operations. Next slide, please. The goal 4, particularly today, we will focus on this. What does it say? It says that all learners should acquire the knowledge and skills. So knowledge is what we talk about degrees, but skills includes life skills, includes occupational skills, which are needed to promote sustainable development. And our scores, whether for Karnataka or India, will depend to the extent we have this education mainstreaming sustainable development goals in their policies, curricula, teachers' education and orientation, and even student assessment. This is where we seek the cooperation of all the stakeholders to take it forward. Next slide, please. When we look at the advantage to colleges and universities, why should they orient themselves to SDGs? Well, we all know that NAC accreditation requires that the students and faculty, they engage in real life situations and just don't limit themselves to curricula. And this is where the opportunity lies. Your publications increase as you go on for more research, the field research, action research projects. You can improve rankings in NIRF, and you can provide opportunities for innovation to your students. Next slide. So what do we expect from our participant colleges and universities? We want that every student should get an idea of what SDG is. I've explained in 5 minutes what SDG is. So I'm sure without taking much time, our students can be just informed about what this issue, what this whole thing is about, and how is it relevant to them. The second is we invite that all the academic institutions, they participate with government. For example, recently we held an internship program. We got about 400 interns during the COVID time because they were not able to do anything else. And it was an online program, and they are doing presently wonderful research. Some of them have already submitted their write-ups and reports, which are going to be very helpful to the concerned departments in policy changes as well. So that gives, the flavor of what our youth thinks, how our youth wants the governance to be transformed. And that makes a very good support system for the government. We want innovative solutions for sustainable development. And I'm sure who else but the youth can contribute for it. Karnataka and Bangalore in particular is known as the innovation hub of the entire country. It is a Silicon Valley of India. So I don't think there could be any better place for taking these SDGs forward in a very, very fast pace. Aligning universities with the actual governance. I am myself a PhD holder, and I know that my PhD publication must be lying somewhere in some shelf. If only that word was to be utilized in actual governance, I'm sure it will make a lot of difference. Next point, next slide, please. How do we, I'll just quickly give you some examples for different goals. So it's not just goal 4. How this goal 4 target can actually spread over the other goals by involvement of youth. I'll give you a few examples. We want zero hunger. So what can youth do? They can adopt measures for ensuring that there is some new system developed for, let's say, food processing and packaging, or they, in their employment of areas, look at marketing of the rural produce by adding value. When I look at quality education, how can rural youth or educated youth help other students to get better results, better training, better skilling, is where it will make all the difference. In terms of gender equality, it's very important that at least the boys, they understand that girls are on par with them, and they have to promote the equal opportunity mindset in the society for their girl counterparts. It will make all the difference. Next slide, please. All of us want clean water and sanitation, but are we contributing in every house for saving every drop of water that we consume? Or transforming every garbage piece, whether dry waste or wet waste, in the way that the energy is not lost. It is converted into some reuse, recycle, or some such productive use. Each one of us has a great role to play. Similarly, our goal 8 talks about decent work and economic growth. Just by getting educated does not give you work opportunities. You have to see what is the market demand and how can you contribute to that economic activity and productivity. We also would like to make use of different departments in the government, be it skill development department, be it higher education department, be it ITBT, we would like, or industry, we would like our youth in the universities or outside the universities to be given access to different programs which are there, and can be catered to their in areas of youth in areas of interest. For example, I'm not interested in studies, but I am a real adventure lover. So I can very well run a good parasailing or some such adventure activity in one of the beaches of South Canara or Udupi or so on. So according to each one's interest and talent, there are huge number of opportunities which are available. The question is, how do we make a match of both? And here, my department and my team are going to make the efforts to help you out. In terms of innovation and industry infrastructure, we are looking at various automations and the incubation centers, so that more and more youth can come up with their ideas and they can be brought into reality. Next slide, please. Sustainable cities and communities. Here again, all of us have to have that ownership that this is my city and I have to, work together with others and ensure that all of us have a good quality of life, be it with air quality, or we've already spoken of waste management or water conservation, or creating some good infrastructural and economic activities. Sustainable consumption along with production is very important. Now I have access to electricity, but would it be wise for me to just leave the lights on when I am out of my office or of my home? So small things it's like drops in the ocean, and we need to be sensitized to it. We need to be organized for this, and obviously the final outcomes are going to be huge. In terms of gender equality and in economic growth, we have to ensure that various programs which are available for empowerment of women are actually brought to their doorsteps and they are able to make use of them. And finally, we've spoken about the partnerships already. So we have 4 P's. We have the people, we have the public, which is government, and we have the private sector, and we look at partnerships with civil society. And then in that civil society, I look at youth sector as the major influencer in any of these aspects. Next slide. So I would take this as my last slide, saying that how will it help the students? We've spoken of how it will help the academic institutions, how it will help communities and government, of course. But students per se, I feel that once they engage themselves in meaningful outreach activities, that means they don't restrict themselves to books or bookish knowledge. They actually implement and use these knowledge platforms as their real life skills, and therefore achieve success unlimited. That itself is going to just transform not only the personality of our children, but also the extent of opportunities that they can really explore in their lifetime. The fact that they will be involved in solving real life problems not only gives them self-confidence about their own talent and competence, but also it brings relevance of their contribution in the society. This can really make a huge difference to the quality of life. When they want to go for higher education in especially institutions abroad, I'm sure they all ask about what outreach activities have been done. Unfortunately, in our country, we don't have this credit system where community service, it's a mandatory thing, and you get a percentage of credit to your otherwise academic records. We try and work for that through the government, but till then, other countries, wherever you want to go for higher education, you will be obviously asked, have you involved yourself in outreach activities? And if you have, certainly you have an edge over others. In fact, this whole experience of governance, social, economic, actual activities under this domain will help not only your personal but also professional improvements. And finally, networking. There's nothing more important or valuable than networking. You may have the best of talent within you, but if you don't network with others, then you're just limiting yourself and your opportunities. So this is precisely what we are doing today through this outreach program. We are trying to network. We're trying to bring together all sections of society, all stakeholders, be it NGOs, be it civil society people, be it governance people, and so on, academic people. And we want all of us that we work together towards common goals. And believe me, if all of us work together, then hunger, poverty, all these will be things of the past. I'm sure we all have this dream of having, if not a utopian, but certainly one good, nice world, which is a better place to live in. All of us aspire, but aspiring itself is not enough. We need to work together, and here is a way how to work together, and we would be very happy to take this forward. So thank you, Mukund, for giving me this opportunity, and you can take it forward, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I'm sure from aspiration to inspiration, we can have that transition by the end of this conclave. May I now introduce Ms. Nadia Rashid.
You want to?
Thank you very much, Dr. Raj.
Nadia, sorry, Nadia, I just got into a technology gap. Let me introduce you properly. Apologies again. Nadia Rashid is our, Nadia Rashid is our deputy resident. She has worked in partnerships. She has, she has a huge experience across the UNDP spectrum. May I now invite Ms. Nadia to address us and throw some light on how the academic ecosystem can be leveraged to play a role in achieving SDGs. Nadia, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Raj. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, let me first begin by wishing a very good morning to our respected dignitaries, Dr. Shalini Rajneesh, Additional Chief Secretary, Department. Oh, Dr. Raj, I think you're unmuted. Yes. So let me begin by wishing a very good morning to our respected dignitaries, Dr. Shalini Rajneesh, Additional Chief Secretary, Department of Planning, Mr. Ramanan, Additional Secretary and Mission Director of the Atul Innovation Mission, Mr. K. Srinivas, Commissioner of the Department of Youth Empowerment and Sports, and Mr. Gunjan Patel, Head of Corporate Social Responsibility at SAP. I'd also really like to very warmly welcome all our esteemed panelists and our audience, and especially the youth organizations, the academic institutions, and the young people who are with us today. I'm really extremely pleased to be able to join all of you for the launch of the SDG for Youth campaign, and especially to be part of Karnataka's first ever SDG Academia and Youth Conclave. This initiative is an important step forward in engaging with youth. And as UNDP, we're extremely proud to be partnering with the government of Karnataka to initiate this campaign. UNDP has had a long-standing relationship with the government of Karnataka. And more recently, we partnered to establish the SDG Coordination Center under the leadership of Dr. Shalini Rajneesh. And the center is really spearheading multi-stakeholder engagement to achieve the state's 2030 vision, which Dr. Shalini has described so well. We're meeting together as we near the end of an unprecedented year. The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has devastated families and communities around the world, resulting in loss of countless lives and in loss of livelihoods. The response from the government of Karnataka has been commendable, not just in responding to COVID and facilitating recovery from the pandemic, but also at the same time maintaining a focus on ensuring that SDG progress remains on track. This is so important. And the SDG for Youth campaign is an example of that focus. The campaign, as we've heard, is an innovative initiative to provide a platform for academia and for youth to collaborate, to find solutions, to learn from each other, and to leverage resources and experiences. As Dr. Shalini has said, academia plays a fundamental role in contributing to the SDGs by being at the forefront of guiding socially responsible students who are agents of change, not just in the future, but who are already agents of change and who already play a role as global citizens. Our academic partners, by ensuring a smooth and equitable education to work transition, contribute to many of the development goals. But I'd like to highlight in particular Sustainable Development Goal 4, which, as you just heard, focuses on achieving quality and inclusive education. And also Sustainable Development Goal 8, which focuses on fostering decent work and economic growth. Providing young people with 21st century skills not only helps them to grow to their fullest potential, but also helps the state and the country to leverage its huge youth dividend. The state government and UNDP have already been working together on youth empowerment for some time, including through initiatives such as the DISHA project, which is also a partnership with the private sector and with civil society. And our youth engagement initiatives have really centered around two key priorities. Firstly, enhancing access to employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. And secondly, fostering youth-led innovation to solve critical development challenges. And our regional Youth CoLab initiative is being implemented by UNDP across 25 countries in Asia and the Pacific. In India, we're extremely proud to have launched the initiative in collaboration with the Atal Innovation Mission, led by Dr. Ramanan. And the goal is really to help foster youth-led social innovation. The Movers program has also been initiated as part of the Youth CoLab to address gaps in youth-led social innovation and to equip young people with critical 21st century entrepreneurial skills. And I sincerely hope that the young people of Karnataka will actively join these initiatives and further enhance them through their insights and through their innovative ideas. We're also implementing Project Unnati to build employment and entrepreneurship skills for youth and for women in collaboration with the UN volunteers and with support from SAP Labs India Private Limited, building on experiences from the DISHA project and in collaboration with the state government of Karnataka. The SDG for Youth campaign is an important platform to adopt the Movers program, to leverage innovative technologies, and to engage youth and academia to be part of the global SDG 2030 movement. This journey has already begun successfully. For example, the Karnataka SDG Coordination Center team has supported the National Institute of Engineering in Mysore to set up an SDG Center for Youth Engagement, and we would be very happy to support other academic institutions to create a robust ecosystem for youth-led SDG localization. So we know that it's time that we hand the baton over to the unstoppable youth who will show the way to millions across the country and beyond, not just to millions of young people like themselves, but also to us older people. And my team and I are extremely thankful for the wholehearted support and guidance provided by Dr. Shalini and all the government of Karnataka representatives who've been instrumental in launching the SDG for Youth campaign. Let me thank you all once again and assure you of UNDP's continued support and commitment to the state's sustainable development of Karnataka. And I look forward to being part of this important journey with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nadia. Thank you for the support and encouragement. And I think the academic ecosystem can sort of benefit from this partnership with the government of Karnataka. May I now introduce Mr. Ramanan Ramanathan. Mr. Ramanan Ramanathan is the Additional Secretary and Mission Director of Atal Innovation Mission. He has established more than 10,000 Atal Tinkering Labs, 5,000 operational in 650 districts across the country. 2 million students have access to his innovative tools and technologies. Things like 3D printers are now at many schools. Robotics is at the school level. 102 Atal incubation centers have been established. So welcome to this panel. We look forward to hearing from you, and the youth can be educated on the role of entrepreneurship and youth empowerment, and how Atal Innovation Mission can help revitalize this youth entrepreneurial system, which is already established by you. I request you, sir.
Thank you, everybody, for giving me an opportunity today to participate in this very important conference and this very important deliberation. I'm indeed fortunate to join this distinguished set of panelists, both from the government of Karnataka as well as from UNDP, from SAP, and from all the others who have joined, Dr. Mukund Rajan and so on. I hope all of you are hale and hearty in spite of these difficult COVID-19 circumstances, and that every one of you is practicing the safeguards suggested to you by your local government, by your institutions, or by the government, the local health authorities. We are indeed living in very, very difficult times and unprecedented times, as all of you are aware, and especially the youth of the country who are out there today. We are living in a situation where a simple virus has paralyzed nations across the world. It has created grievous loss of lives and livelihoods. It has created disruption to supply chains across the world. It has created national lockdowns, and it has created a fear of uncertainty about what the future holds for us. Not only how long is it going to take to cross this COVID-19 crisis, but what are some of the challenges that are out there facing us and which we will have to face in the years ahead? How about climate change problems that have been talked about by many countries as well as by companies? We have not faced the devastating effects of climate change yet, but many symptoms have been there across all over the world. And if such a challenge hits us at any point in time, we'd be totally unprepared to be able to face such a situation. So we are living in a time where there are many challenges, and the Sustainable Development Goals encapsulates them very beautifully, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. These are not only goals, but these are the challenges that we have to face and we have to solve. The only way you can solve this is by imbibing and creating a spirit of innovation, a culture of innovation across the length and breadth of our country, especially in the youth of our country. We are, after all, 1.3 billion people. We have 1.4 million schools in our country, 10,500 engineering and related institutions, over 39,000 colleges, and we have 150 million young students like you who are going to be entering into the workplace in the next 5 to 10 years. You are the future upon which not only our country is going to rely upon, but you are the future for the world. You are going to be the change makers of the future that you want to see. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see. You, my dear youth, who are all logged on to this particular call, you have the power to transform not only your own lives, but the lives of the people around you, the lives of the society that you live in, the lives of the nations that we are all part of, and the life of the world, by ushering in and solving all these Sustainable Development Goal problems that Dr. Shalini referred to and which Nadia referred to. And therefore, we have to look at what are the ways in which we can do this. How do we leverage this demographic dividend that we talk about, 150 million young students like you entering into the workplace? How do we leverage it to solve these problems and create a better world, a more sustainable world for all of us to live in? And that is why the Atal Innovation Mission has been formed, to be able to create and promote this ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of our country. After all, if you want to create innovators and if you want to create entrepreneurs, you first have to understand what it means to be an innovator. And that means acquiring a problem-solving, innovative mindset in your thinking. You should become aware of the problems that surround you in and around the communities that you live in. Then you have to be able to articulate that problem and decide, how am I going to solve this problem leveraging emerging technologies? Because technologies are becoming affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. Your 3D printing technology, which is revolutionizing the way you're able to conceptualize, design, define, and create a product right in front of your eyes using a simple, low-cost 3D printer. You're having robotics driving the next level of automation and productivity across the rest of the world. You have sensor technologies which are getting integrated into man-machine device, plant, soil, or space. And through these sensor technologies, you're getting vital streams of data which you can use in order to create decision support systems. You're having advancement in computing technologies like nanocomputing, supercomputing, DNA computing, biotech, and so on, which is revolutionizing the way you're able to process this data at lightning speeds. You're having communication technologies like 5G technologies, wireless technologies, and satellite technologies, which is enabling you not only to be able to capture the data from various sources, but to be able to transact digitally. You are able to transact and create a product in Salem to be sold in Seattle, from Sikkim to be sold in San Francisco. That's the power of the digital reach that you are getting now, which was not available to many of us when we were growing. When I was growing up, I never had access to any of these technologies. But now these technologies are being made available through do-it-yourself kits in our schools, so that young students from grade 6 to grade 12 are able to create and solve problems they see in and around the community through these technologies and leverage them for the betterment of the world. And at the university level, Atal Innovation Mission is setting up hundreds of incubators, world-class incubators. You see, one of the things that I would like all of you young students to know and be aware of and aspire for, and as the speaker said, from aspiration to inspiration, we should derive inspiration from the fact that Indian innovators are second to none. You go anywhere in the world, you have great Indian engineers, scientists, philosophers, artists, you name it, they have achieved the highest levels of eminence in different parts of the world where an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship has been provided to them. So you have a Satya Nadella heading Microsoft, a Sundar Pichai heading Google, a Shantanu Narayan heading Adobe, and you have an Arvind Krishna heading IBM. You have several Indians leading Harvard Business School, Carnegie Mellon, Stanford University, and so on. They are the deans or they are the most respected professors there. So when we have an ecosystem that is made available to them, Indians rise to the very top. That is why the Atal Innovation Mission is creating that ecosystem in India so that from you, the next Steve Jobs, the next Bill Gates, the next Abdul Kalam, the next Tessie Thomas will spring into existence in thousands, not just in one or twos. And you will be able to be the architect of the future India that we talk about, of the Atmanirbhar Bharat that we are all espousing, of a Bharat that is self-reliant and is not only able to solve problems that we see in our own communities, but we are able to solve the problems for the rest of the world. And why is that true? That is true because India has more than 650,000 villages in our country. We have more than 715 districts, out of which 115 are aspirational districts. We have more than 4,000 small towns and cities, and we have only 8 tier 1 cities. And we want to prevent this whole migration from these 4,000 small towns and cities and 650,000 villages into just 8 tier 1 cities. Now, if you want to avoid that, you have to create thousands of hubs of innovation and job creation. And that is possible only when you take the Sustainable Development Goals, which talk about eliminating poverty. 20%, 22% of our country is still below the poverty line. It solves the problem of education, access to education so that it is available and inclusive, whether it is in tier 1 city, tier 2 cities, or tier 3 cities. Access to basic healthcare and hygiene, because you need to be able to address the problems of water management, clean drinking water for all. water management for the irrigation of districts which are deprived of rains or which are dependent upon the seasons. Access to affordable housing. You need accessible renewable energy so that you prevent the emissions to the marketplace and to the world. So these are all challenges, but my dear friends, these are all tremendous opportunities for every one of you to leverage technology, to leverage your energy, to leverage your intellectual power, to leverage your innovative capabilities, to be able to solve the problems. We can become, and we should become, a nation of job creators, not just job seekers. We should create the new entrepreneurial solutions that the rest of the world needs. And every challenge that you see, we are a country of 1 billion people with 1 million challenges, but these million challenges are 1 million opportunities for us to be able to solve and create entrepreneurial units. So my dear students, the problem is very simple. Acquire a curiosity, acquire the imagination to be able to solve the problems that you see in and around the community aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. And you can. From the humble town of Rameshwaram came a young person who had only exposure to a few schools, there were a few churches, there is a mosque, and there are several temples. And from such a humble town of Rameshwaram came the great Abdul Kalam. He rose on to become the finest scientist, one of the finest scientists India has ever seen. He rose on to become the president of the country, one of the finest human beings that this country has produced. He said, dream big and you'll achieve great things. Dream small and you will be limited by your own dreams. So my dear young students, it is time for you to dream big and you will achieve great things. Yes, I can, said Barack Obama. And he rose on to become the first Black president of America. Yes, you can, my dear young students. You can become the architects, the solution providers, the sustainable development goal implementers of the world. And all that you need to do is to be able to believe in yourself and to be able to take the plunge. There is no looking back once you have launched onto the innovation journey. There is no looking back for you in becoming an innovator, because every one of you young student is a born innovator. Nobody taught you how to stand. You learned by yourself. You fell down, you stood up, you fell down again, you stood up again. But every time you stood up, you innovated. And through that innovation, you started to walk, you started to run, you started to win national racing competition, and some of you went on to win the Olympics like Usain Bolt. That is the power of innovation that is there in you. How do you awaken that? As the great Swami Vivekananda said, arise, awake, and stop not till your goals are reached. My dear young students, it is time for you to arise and awaken your innovative capability and stop not till the goals of sustainable development is reached for the rest of the world. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts on this occasion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm sure the youth would have had a perspective of Atal Innovation Mission, and like you rightly said, from Rameshwaram to New Delhi to Rashtrapati Bhavan, the journey has inspired millions across the globe. So we look forward to hearing from you again, sir, during the course of this conversation. May I now request Shri Srinivas, who is the Commissioner of Youth Empowerment and Sports. Shri Srinivasji is an avid sports lover, youth champion, and he was the Deputy Commissioner, and I is from Bangalore. Sir, may we request you to share how the youth of this state can benefit from the Department of Youth Empowerment and Sports. I think you are honing a lot of leadership skills, entrepreneurship skills, and many other skills are imparted from YES. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, Mukul. Thank you for the brief introduction. Respected ACS Madam and all other dignitaries. I am holding the post of Commissioner Youth Empowerment and Sports in Karnataka. Karnataka has a youth policy where youth from 15 years to 30 years are considered as youth, and there are more than 2.3 crores youth in Karnataka. As already Madam has defined in her presentation, the SDG goals, which is up to 17 sustainable development goals, which has to be implemented or which has to be brought awareness in the state of Karnataka. This is very much relating to education, growth and employment, inequality, data collection, and monitoring of SDG. These all activities started in 2016 with the objectives of raising awareness of the 2030 agenda, promote active dialogue and among the stakeholders, establish ongoing live web research. Among the 17 sustainable development goals, 5 sustainable development goals are equally important for the youths of this generation, like no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, and gender equality. While going for the no poverty zone, uh, it is very much desirable that there should be no poverty among the youths, which will put them in a very bad position. So, to eradicate the poverty, social protection system and economic resource distribution has to be taken place. When it comes to zero hunger, the agenda is to end all forms of malnutrition, uh, double the agriculture production and income of small uh, food producers. One of the main thing is good health and well-being among the youth. Health is very much precious. There are so much maternal mortality deaths that has to be reduced. Uh, and again, the present deaths of newborns, end the epidemic, especially the coronavirus. Now, since when we go through this thing, youth has a very much important role in eradication of corona because they have to come forward as volunteers for the government so that their contribution will very much help in the eradication of this epidemic. And this is also to reduce the road accident death where the accident and accident deaths are mostly among the two-wheelers, which is again popularly within the youth. Again, coming back to the quality education, we have to provide free primary and secondary education to all the youths. We have to get them access to quality early childhood development, access to quality technical education, eliminate gender disparities in education. The final thing is gender equality. This is to note that youth, there are equally same percentage of girls among the youth. So there should be no form of discrimination against women and girls. We have to eliminate all form of violence against women and girls, end harmful practices such as child marriages, women equal right to economic activities. At presently, India is standing in 117th position out of the 193 countries. With these type of programs, especially involving the UNDP, I think that India should come well within 2 digits, well within 50 to be precise, so that the India will be in a very good position. And also in India, we should come within the fifth. Karnataka should be in the first fifth position while bringing this SDG into force. So I wish all the best in this endeavor, and from the department, I think we will give all the cooperation in this regard. We have youth programs in our department where we conduct Yuva Janotsava on the birth occasion of Swami Vivekananda every January. So we are going, we are doing this Yuva Janotsava and especially in all over the district, so the youth can participate in this program, which will then they come to the state level and then they will go to the national level. And also we have a Yuvajana Mela every year to be conducted, but due to epidemic, this year some programs are not being done. Especially we have rural sports activities. We give awards to the persons who have been identified in sports and rural sports, like the Ekalavi Award, Lifetime Achievement, Karnataka Krida Ratna Award, and we also give awards to the association, those who promote sports. We have scholarship for the sports persons and also the fee reimbursement for the sports persons. There is also reservation in CET so that all the sports persons who have done their POC can get into engineering, medical, dental, BSc. There is no percentage of reservation. It is a open reservation. So those who are getting participated in sports, they will get a reservation in this education system. And also we have a Jetna wing where we do adventure activity in air, water and curriculum. I think we have a film for 5 minutes which Mr. Mukund will next play it so that it is a brief achievement of the department. On behalf of ACS Madam and Government of Karnataka, the department is with the youth. The department will be along the youth, and we will join hands in developing, establishing this SDG goal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing with us. I thank all the panelists of the first session. We have, some queries for Mr. Ramanan and our panelists, which I will be sharing. In the meanwhile, for all the youth who are out there, SDGCC is having a small, a small promotion or a competition. Please send in your videos on tag us on Facebook, which is about a 30 to 45-second video on your innovative ideas. We are available. We are just a click away in leaving no one behind on social media. So we are on SDGCCKAR, both on Facebook and on Twitter handle. So you can reach out to us with your videos. And the question that I have for Mr. Ramanan sir is, we have the aspirational districts Raichur and Yadgir. So how could we set up Atal Innovations Lab in Raichur and Yadgir? Could you please?
Thank you. So actually we have 115 aspirational districts, and I'm sure in Raichur and Raigad, both of these districts, we have Atal Tinkering Labs already, because 102 out of 115 districts already have Atal Tinkering Labs. But I can verify that and get back. Typically, there are three ways in which aspirational districts can become a part of the innovation ecosystem. One is the schools from those districts should apply for an Atal Tinkering Lab. That is a process. There is an online application that they have to fill. Currently, we have not reopened the application because we have 10,000 tinkering labs which are being operationalized. Almost 6,500 are fully operationalized. The remaining 3,500 will be operationalized before March. We'll then be reopening the applications in the month of March or maybe late February. And at that time, other schools can apply who have not been able to apply. The second is we are setting up incubators. And these incubators are in different parts of the country. Actually, across 26 states, we have incubators. And the idea is these incubators will foster startups to address the problems of aspirational districts also. So most of these incubators, you have to locate which is the closest incubator to you. And this incubator can be approached for entrepreneurs in the Raichur or the Raigad region or these districts, aspirational districts, to be able to create solutions and become a startup. And that startup can be supported both virtually as well as physically through that incubator. The third is we are setting up what are known as community innovation centers across the country. And these community innovation centers are advanced tinkering labs as well as an incubation center. It's both rolled in one. And this we are doing with the private sector support. So please, I will let you know whether there is, what is the closest community innovation center to you. But if not, we would encourage from these districts, because community innovation centers are being set up only in tier 2, tier 3 cities or in rural India and rural districts. They're not being set up in tier 1 cities because we want to spur innovation and job creation in those regions. So these are the three ways of doing it. Please write to me on r.ramanan@gov.in. That's my email ID. All the information is available on the website for how do you apply for a tinkering lab, how do you apply for an incubator, how do you respond to an Atal New India Challenge, or how do you apply for an Atal Community Innovation Center. And these are the various ways in which you can enable entrepreneurship and solution development for the rural districts.
Thank you, sir. And to Dr. Shalini and Ms. Nadia, we will be connecting later because we have a couple of requests for youth engagement towards SDGs and to start youth engagement centers subsequent to the one we started in NIE and the support that Nadia has should extend now. We will reach out to you. So I thank all of our panelists for sharing their time and valuable insights to have it today. Now let me transit on to the youth, Pratik, to chat with the youth and let's have our views. Yes, sir.
Before you conclude, I'd like to please extend a possible discussion with both Dr. Shalini as well as with the Youth Empowerment and Sports Commissioner, because I think these are very important ways in which central initiatives and the state-driven initiatives can collaborate. And we have been doing that with many states. So I will follow up with them later.
Thank you, Mr. Ramanan. We will do it, certainly. I and Srinivas will get in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I think this sets an example for the youth about the power of networking that Dr. Shalini was mentioning earlier. This is a platform for networking and everybody can feel the advantages of it. So over to you, Pratik, and the youth, we are waiting to hear from you. Thank you. We'll join you later. Bye.
Thanks, Mukund. Thanks to all the panelists. So it's a pleasure to be part of this event. And thanks again to Government of Karnataka and UNDP and also Mr. Ramanan from Atal Innovation Mission to actually be part of the event. Even Mr. Youth K. Srinivasan, sir, for being part of this event and giving us the context of how to take this discussion forward. So before we move on to the next panel discussions, we wanted to introduce our youth representatives. So we have a couple of youth representatives who want to share their thoughts about and their aspirations about what SDG means to them and what they have done for SDGs. So these are like SDG champions within our own community or worked on SDGs who have been impacted by SDGs. So I introduce to all the attendees and panelists, Ms. Shahana, Mr. Ved and Ms. Aishwarya. Over to you, Shahana, to just introduce yourself and please let us know how SDG what does SDG mean to you and how do you relate with SDGs?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here today. I am Shahana MP and I'm currently pursuing economics, political science and sociology from Christ University. To answer your question, Mr. Pratik Kumar, I think my association with Sustainable Development Goals started when I started volunteering with Center for Social Action. So CSA is the developmental wing of Christ University. So through CSA's Activity Center, I've had the opportunity to go take sessions for kids belonging to the underprivileged sections of our community. And this is a two-way process, right? This is a process in which we volunteers get to learn about the ground realities of the society, and in turn we are able to provide and help these children in developing and enhancing their learning abilities, their soft skills, their communication skills, and so on. And to answer the question what SDG means to me, I think Sustainable Development Goals tends to look very ambitious to all of us, but at the end of the day, if we look at it very closely, we can understand that these are the most basic basic rights and fundamental things that we can achieve for us to create a better world for the future, for us to actually, have a more humane world for everyone living in, despite, being a human being or being a other sort of living being for that matter. And apart from, being involved in Activity Center, I've also had the opportunity to be part of more than 40 street theater performances in past 2 years, where we perform street plays in public spots across Bangalore on various pressing social issues like water conservation, women empowerment, taboos regarding HIV, and so on, which I believe is directly or indirectly related to Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Shana. Over to Ms. Aishwarya from NIE to actually just share a few of your thoughts.
Hello.
Hello, Aishwarya? Yeah, please, go ahead.
I can't start my video. 1 second.
Sure, now we'll come back to you. Okay, yeah, great. We can see you right now. Right.
Good afternoon, everyone. M, and I'm a graduate in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from the National Institute of Engineering, Mysore. And today I'm here to share my views on what is sustainable global development by means of, the goal 7. I'm here to highlight the importance of goal 7, especially uh, because of the, activities that I have done in ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. This is the goal 7 for which I am, supporting and highlighting the importance of it. So basically, I have deployed and I've worked on on-field microgrid units, in various community microgrids. I and my team have installed various microgrids. First of all, let me tell you what is microgrid. It is uh, setting up the. I and my team uh, have set up home energy grids. The ones from the utility grids are the energy supply that you get from the government. So in many rural places, you don't have access to electricity all the time. So I and my team have ensured, along with my college professor. There is a department called CREST in our college. So our professor and our team have involved in setting up microgrid units at 3 places in Mysore. So these three pilot projects have ensured that people of who have less access to electricity and with limited supply of power from the utility are ensured 24/7 supply of electricity, um, and they can uh, they can have access to electricity all the time. So yeah, this is our contribution.
Thanks. It's great to hear. I think we'll be reaching out to you again once all the panel discussion is over, because I wanted to know what your efforts and how your efforts actually has impacted the community and how it's informed your own career and your own aspirations. So we'll come back and we can discuss after all the panel discussions. And now I just wanted to introduce Mr. Ved Gurunath, who please go ahead.
Yeah, distinguished dignitaries who are part of this call and respected members of Government of Karnataka and the entire team of UNDP, a warm good afternoon to one and all present here. It's an absolute honor. It's really an honor to, being chairing the session with some amazing personalities here from the government body and the UNDP and all the faculty members and professors. So to start off, I would just say what sustainable development goals mean to me. As Sahana said, they are not something which are very, very new thing. Sustainable development goals are some basic goals that have been taught to us right from where we were in the school. What are the 3 basic points according to me for sustainable development goals are ending poverty, which we have been hearing all across our life, wherever it might be a family, our schools, our colleges. The second thing is protecting our planet. We all talk about planting new plants and stopping global warming. And the last thing is spreading prosperity. So the question that all of us have to ask ourselves is it really so difficult for us to attain these 3 steps, to put very little efforts to end poverty, protect our planet, and ensure that we spread prosperity? So it's we are fortunate that I would say my journey with SDG started at RV Institute of Management. I'm an MBA professional and presently working with RV University itself. So we have Professor Chandran with us, who is leading the CSR wing at RV Institute of Management. We have been taking out several street plays, conducting different events, adopting a village, and doing all these activities. So the learning that we learn from that, from academic, when we have implemented SDGs in our academics, and we are being active part of that, I definitely ensure you that we use a lot of it in our workplace. So I'll be speaking in the talk in the future when my turn comes about quality education, that is SDG 4, and decent work and economic growth. how SDGs or participating in SDG activities has helped me in my professional career. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Ved. So we got a very inspiring message from Dr. Shalini Rajneesh too. Aishwarya's brief intro about her microgrid project was mentioned by Rajesh ma'am, saying that it could be used in remote so that we can see how we can take this forward. So I'll come back to all the three youth representatives after the panel discussion. So just passing it over quickly to Mr. Mukund to share us a quick video before we go ahead with the full-on panel discussion. We just wanted to have a small break with regard to a small video shared by the youth department and how they are helping the youth of Karnataka state to implement SDGs and also to strengthen Mukund. So we seem to have some technical issues. So let us go forward. Or is Mukund?
No, Pratik, we lost your voice in between. Pratik, we lost your voice in between, but you can go ahead to the next session. We'll play it after your session.
Okay, I think we'll move forward. We'll come back. Sure. To Sneha Pathak, UNDP Youth Coordinator. Welcome, Sneha. It's great to have you on board.
Thank you.
She works for Youth Collab and she's been leading the SDG Movers program and a lot of innovative initiatives from UNDP. Over to you, Sneha.
Thank you, Pratik. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out on a Saturday for this important SDG for Youth dialogue. I'm Sneha, the youth focal point of UNDP, and I'm very excited to be here for the first dialogue of the series. Before we dive in, I wanted to take this opportunity to reiterate what Nadia had mentioned earlier. UNDP aims to foster youth leadership, innovation, entrepreneurship through an initiative called Youth Collab. Youth Collab, with its presence in over 25 countries across Asia and the Pacific, was launched in India in 2019 in collaboration with Atal Innovation Mission Niti Aayog. Through Youth Collab, we place youth front and center to find solutions that will further the implementation of the SDGs, and we aim to create an enabling ecosystem that allows them to take their solutions to scale. However, there are lacunas in this ecosystem. To address that gap in the understanding of SDGs and social entrepreneurship, the Youth Collab Movers program came into being. The Movers program is a movement built on community leadership and follows a training of trainers methodology. It is an engaging platform allowing young people to take action in their community in their own way. We would be happy to bring the learnings of Youth Collab and the Movers program for the youth of Karnataka. If you're interested to know more about this, please write to us. I will mention the email ID in the chat box as well as in the comment section on YouTube. All right, let's dive in. We have a great panel for you today on the role of youth for SDGs. I will do a super quick round of introductions because I am mindful of the time. First up, we have Mr. Gunjan Patel, CSR Head, SAP. I can vouch for Gunjan when I say that he's someone who is passionate about youth economic empowerment. Dr. Damodaran is here with us. He's a professor at IIM Bangalore. He is specialized in global commons, IPRs, and sustainable development. Dr. Damodaran has been associated with the Government of India and UN high-level committees on climate change and biodiversity. Dr. Prasanna is a professor in the Civil Engineering Department at the National Institute of Engineering, Mysore. Dr. Prasanna leads the first SDG Center for Youth Engagement in India that has been established at his institute. Finally, we have Monmi Barwa, Network Coordinator, UN SDSN Youth South Asia, Associate Fellow, Environmental Education and Awareness Area, TERI. Welcome, everyone. I would just want to reiterate this super quickly. I think we're running short of time. So I would request all the panelists to be mindful of it. I also understand that Dr. Damodaran has to leave early due to personal engagement. So my first question would be directed to him. Sir, the term global commons is typically used to indicate the Earth's shared natural resources. Why is it important that we sensitize the youth about the importance of global commons, and how do we engage with them in the management of the same? Over to you, Dr. Damodaran.
I've been listening to the initial, the part of the program, and I will make my points on the basis of what we have discussed, in continuation of what we have discussed. The importance of global commons cannot be cannot be underemphasized, given the fact that a lot of things that we are talking about today, maybe in the last 1 or 2 years, has been very relevant to what is considered to be global aspirations. So in that context, there is no mismatch between global commons and the pursuit of local commons. And one serves the other well. So for the youth, it cannot be a more opportune time to do these things. That is, pursue global commons goals along with local common goals. Now, if you want me to elaborate a little bit more, I would say that if you adopt a global commons perspective, that is, we are talking of climate change, biodiversity, desertification issues, and all that, we have to look at SDGs in a totally different way. SDGs are currently seen as goal 1 to 70. You read it out in that manner. But what I find very interesting is when Dr. Shalini talked about it, she did bunch a couple of 2 or 3 SDGs together. If I am not mistaken, she had bunched SDGs 12, 13, and 14 for very valid reasons. Now, the point is, if you start reading from hunger to the end, where partnerships are talked about, you will get a perspective which is very important from the point of view of development. But if you're talking of global commons, you have to invert. You have to take out certain core concerns and put it in the core of things. So I would say that there is a core that you have to create. There is a non-core, which is the penumbra of the core, and then there is a periphery. So when you look at that in a non-linear way, you'll find that there are about 7 core ideals of SDGs. I would say that it is cities, it is about sustainable consumption, it is about climate change, it is below water, and also land conservation. If you bunch all of them together as core concerns, then that would be a global commons approach of looking at it. Now, look at non-core. You can have poverty, hunger, health, gender, water and sanitation, inequality. And then go to the peripheral, then you will find that it is 8, that is decent work, 9 about industry, innovation, and infrastructure. I think Mr. Ramnathan mentioned about that at length, about the Atal Tinkering Labs and Atal Innovation Labs. All that will come and partnerships would also come as part of the peripheral. Now, when I say that core, not core, and peripheral, I'm not trying to say that there's a prioritization, that poverty is less important than biodiversity. I'm just trying to say that if you have a biodiversity perspective and a climate change perspective of how to look at hunger, the situation would be different. So that is what I'm trying to say. So the thing is, what does it mean? Well, the moment you do this kind of a thing, that is, you put the core concerns, then create a peripheral and a non-core concerns, you will come across certain very important and interesting ideas. You will find that most of the skill development in India is happening on the peripheral areas. Now, in the peripheral areas, you are told how to weld, hard tooling things, hard engineering skills, agriculture skills. If you look at the National Skill Development Mission, it talks about agriculture skills. It talks about things sectorally, whereas a global commons perspective would say that you should have a holistic perspective of things. So I would imagine that apart from engineering, welding and tooling, welding is a very important, very critically short skill in India. The youth have to play a role in ensuring that the polytechnics and apprenticeship programs that we have in India need to be greened. A lot of emphasis on waste management, a lot more emphasis on waste minimization, and a lot more emphasis on minimizing GHG, carbon emissions. Now, India has taken up the nationally determined goal of doing it. So I see no reason why the curriculum of the skill development courses and programs are not greened well enough. So the periphery has to be greened, and then the core to meet the core concerns. So this is how I would invert the whole thing. The other thing is, again, it flows from my understanding of skills, the development, NSDP and other programs. I would imagine that a lot of emphasis is on skills. Atal Innovation Lab also talks about how to make it more innovative skill development programs. It talks, tinkering labs also look at innovation, creating innovations in youth. But I'm afraid that we are leaving out know-how. Know-how is as important as skills. And know-how is that invisible thing that you get to see in a factory floor or in a matchmaking or a match, what do you call it, agarbatti manufacturing unit. There's a lot of know-how which remains with the people. Now that know-how is not tapped. And that know-how, if it is tapped, becomes a potential IPR, an intellectual property right. We seem to be, not just we as a country, but many countries seem to be ignoring the importance of know-how. And smarter countries like Japan had already internalized this way back in the 1950s and 1960s. So your factory floor and the place at which, or your house in which you are manufacturing agarbattis, contain a lot of know-how, which is not hard skills on how to do it, but how well to do it. That is something which adds to your intellectual capital. That is where the youth have to play an important role. So youth have to come forward and handhold some of these institutions, which are considered to be, very good. Technically, they're doing a great job, but give a further emphasis to that. Now, let me underline something which could be of interest to you. One is the UNDP had come out with this youth strategy way back for the period 2014 to 2017. Now, it says something very interesting. It talks about indigenous communities, right? India does not have indigenous communities. Everybody is indigenous in India, because it's basically meant for the United States and North America and all that. But nevertheless, we have a lot of tribal population. Karnataka has, compared to Kerala or Tamil Nadu, it may have less. The population may be less, but there are communities like the Soligas, there are communities like the Nayakars in the Western Ghats, who are very good in identifying plants and species. We have it is a most, unusual thing that in botany, everybody wants to be a DNA specialist or a molecular marker specialist. Nobody can identify a plant. It has come to that. There's a complete lopsidedness of skills. Now, I heard a couple of you talking about street plays to impress upon people on the social issues. I would say there should be social street plays which say how much unaware we are of nature. We look at a tree, we are not able to identify what tree it is, right? We'll say, oh, it is a beautiful tree, but it doesn't go beyond that. So the connect to nature comes when we can have taxonomy. Now, taxonomy does not mean that schools and colleges should teach taxonomy. It is there in every tribal. The Soligas know how exactly what a tamarind tree, at what time it should be picked up, etc. Why are we not under the Atal Innovation Labs or the Atal Tinkering Labs, not bringing them mainstream, trying to map the knowledge, traditional knowledge, protect them through the biodiversity management committees, and create a kind of a revolution in terms of traditional knowledge being protected. Now, traditional knowledge protection is a cliche. Everybody talks about it. If you go to biodiversity forums, it is you after every discussion, your head rocks with those terms: conservation, traditional knowledge, etc. But are we really thinking that we people are the repositories of traditional knowledge? We are not even involving the tribal youth. Now, tribal youth, their language is different. It has to be mapped. They have to be made a part and parcel of Atal Labs. So that is the other point. And a couple of this before I stop. There is something called a resource mapping system. Now, if I go back to resource mapping, you go to a village, revenue department of the Karnataka government. I had the good occasion to work very closely with the revenue department of the Karnataka government. In fact, my PhD work was on a Karnataka village. So I know that the understanding of the revenue department in terms of land use, etc., in terms of records, this has become a little more esoteric. Now you have GIS maps, you have remote sensing stuff and all going on. But at the end of the day, resource mapping has to be done by the people. So you go to every village, find out what is the percentage of what you call common property resources. We call gomals in Karnataka, right? What is the status of vegetation in that area? How much is required to be, how much of biodiversity needs to be protected? This is something geo-resource mapping which can be helped by the youth. Now, youth have, most of you are going to villages, you are adopting villages. Why don't you do a survey of those biophysical traits of the villages? Look at how they overlap with the socio-economic traits. We will come across what at one point Anil Agarwal used to say, green villages of India, bio-villages. So that way you are protecting a global common as well as getting results for yourself. The other thing is, of course, this was mentioned by Mr. Ramanathan and Dr. Shalini Rajneesh. This is about data. Data is, of course, important. That's a cliche now. You know, everybody talks about it. But a lot of this data which will come from village mapping, taxonomy, this is very valuable data. This is bioinformation data. And the youth have to play an important role. Whether you have done physics or maths or engineering, you can still be a biologist. Some of the most outstanding biologists have come from the engineering field. So that is the other important thing that youth have to play. And finally, a couple of things, and before I conclude, environment impact assessment, extremely important. You have to be giving first-hand reports, rapid environment impact assessment skills are required. Again, the youth have to come forward, take up concrete cases, get in touch with institutions like Indian Institute of Science. Just now we have RB College. We have got a lot of string of great institutions in Karnataka. They could benefit from them and transfer it to the field. So these are some of the ideas that I have.
Thank you so much, Dr. Damodaran. This was very insightful. I think there's a lot to unpack here. I do agree that climate action and the management of global commons to be successful requires strong youth engagement and know-how or practically crude knowledge globally and nationally in a holistic manner. Thank you so much. Now we move on to Gunjan. Gunjan, I have a two-part question for you. SAP has been the leader in providing innovative technological solutions for varied sectors and organizations. How can we leverage such innovative technology and innovative solutions to empower youth? Secondly, youth empowerment, as we have realized, doesn't happen in silos. What role can the private sector play in youth empowerment for the achievement of SDGs? Thank you. Over to you, Gunjan.
Thank you, Sneha, and thank you, Team UNDP, the Honorable Government of Karnataka, and other stakeholders involved for such a such a wonderful and enriching conversations. Before I get into your answers, I would like to highlight here few points which were discussed earlier are so important. Dr. Shalini Rajneesh ji mentioned about various SDGs and what do they mean, and importantly the power of collaboration and network, which is very crucial. Ms. Nadia spoke about the entire SDG framework, various initiatives and partnerships, and how that can be leveraged. And Mr. Ramanan spoke about innovation continuum and how that has to flow from the school level to the entrepreneurship level, and all these are interlinked. And when I want to sorry, when I want to speak about when you want to know about innovation, what role technology can play, and your second question, which is about private sector, I think all these are tying into one or there is one thread which ties all dots together. So actually there is now a very significant need to work in collaboration, innovation or the kind of breakthrough technology, technological innovation that we are anticipating cannot happen in isolation, and innovation cannot be uh, uh, excluded from the grassroots requirement. And that is where there is a role of a technology, there is a role of private sector, and we can see in our partnerships with UNDP, with government of Karnataka, or with Niti Aayog. And this is what we are trying to bring to surface, this is what we are trying to take to the youth. And I would like to share this with a small note which I want to share through a presentation. But this is something, if we can uh, drive. So basically, if you look at SAP's overall vision, which is how we help the world run better and improve people's lives. Now, technology has to play a critical role there. And what is more critical is that how we power opportunities for youth and citizens through digital inclusion. And this growth has to be equitable and inclusive in nature. And it has again two continuum, and with different work streams, this two different work streams, I feel that it has to run in a circle, in an ecosystem manner. So whether it is digital skilling, it is about STEM, it is about fostering innovation at very young age, or scientific temper, or the future skills that the technology companies are now speaking about, how we can create that workforce readiness. And on the second hand, on the other side, when we look at the entrepreneurship and innovation, I think it is very important that we power the social enterprises to be best run. We propel that entrepreneurship ecosystem. And ultimately, it was earlier also discussed that, rather than being a nation of job seekers, if we can be a nation of job providers, it would create a lot more innovation, which is essential for socio-economic milieu of our country. So a long story short, when we look at the technology will be at the heart and core of everything that we do, whether it is about bringing youth to closer to the technology as well as to innovation, or how more and more young ventures come out, and this venture, this startup should have a kind of social objective in their business. It Of course, the startups are meant for growth, meant for creating wealth. Simultaneously, they should also address one or the other socio-economic issues that our country is facing, and that is the way we can contribute back to one of those 17 SDGs. So this is how we can look at holistically through fostering and propelling the ecosystem. And yeah, so if I go further, I think what SAP has been doing is working at three different streams. And again, here the SDG 17 is crucial, which is how we foster the partnership. Uh, as a company, we feel that working in silos would not help us achieve the scale or create the kind of impact. So working with private sector, working with government and ministries, uh, uh, various ministries, various state governments or central government institutions like Niti Aayog, they are the forerunner in terms of creating socio-economic good, taking education to the grassroots, bringing innovation to the fore, and ultimately the power of public-private partnerships, which we are already working with UNDP here. So this is very crucial. And again, I would like to reiterate that we would like to work uh, at the ecosystem level. Importantly, technology should create enabling and vibrant ecosystem for everyone to grow and propel. Now this is further justifies or testify why it is so crucial. So when we work with government and collaborate with them, it helps us with the scale, with replicability, inclusion, and sustainability. These are very crucial, and umpteen number of times this words are spoken, and we know that a lot of action are being taken. So it is very crucial that how we join forces with government, share their mission. It is the mission of our country to achieve, and subsequently that would result into targeted focus on achieving particular SDG. How we achieve the remote location outreach, how we ensure the demographic diversity. Our country is vast, and it is each state is different from another state culturally, yet we are one, and there is the power of uh, you know uh, unity that we see in the diversity. Similarly, when we work with private sector, I think again here the idea is that we bring two different types of thought leaderships and competencies together. SAP, being a technology company, would like to leverage our technology to take it to the grassroots, to take it to the last mile connectivity, and to achieve scale and sustainability in our program. This again help us to achieve the geographic and demographic diversity. We are keen to take the advancements of future skills to the grassroots and remote areas. Earlier it was mentioned that India has 8 tier 1 cities, and there are 4,000 odd tier 2 tier 3 towns and villages and rural areas. Now it is utmost critical and essential at this point in time that the innovation, the new knowledge, the skills must reach to those 4,000 plus clusters. It is very essential that the opportunities reach there. And I think when we work with private sector, or when we formulate a public private partnership, this is possible. When we work with UNDP, I think we are having that hub and spoke model in the state of Karnataka, while we are creating critical infrastructure, whether it is social or physical, in 3 or 4 main clusters. The benefit and the fruits of those work would be felt in each and every district in the state of Karnataka. We would have a strong focus in aspirational districts. We want to improve the provisioning of quality education and ensure that the students not only uh, passes the examination but becomes better citizen by acquiring adequate knowledge, all those 21st century skills, and actually become contributor to the national growth and development. uh, these are some of the topics which we are working with UNDP, with Niti Aayog, and with Government of Karnataka to take it to the students, to the youth at the last mile. And these are very crucial when we look at the years to come. And it is very important that we actually build this such skills at the young age amongst the students, so that they become the citizen, they become the social change that we want to see in this country. And it's needless to see, and these are not merely the topics, but we are very keen that how we take this skill set to those 4,000 plus clusters, the, geographies, demographies, because India do reside in her villages. So we need to ensure that this technology do not synonymize only with the urban areas or big cities, but the innovation through this technology can be felt, the benefits and the fruits can be felt at the grassroots level in towns and cities. And we what we want to achieve through technology is that how we can help with the meaningful employment opportunities or employment creators. word and the number speaks about it. I would not dwell much onto that, but importantly, how we take the entire ecosystem based approach, the technology that we take to the youth actually then result into innovation. How we power more and more social enterprises through our accelerator, the youth collabs that we intend to take it to different districts of Karnataka. How we help the social businesses to grow. Therefore, they create more employment opportunities as well as address the critical socio demographic healthcare related issues. How we actually enable social and entrepreneurs with the already existing infrastructure and mechanism which is set up by UNDP, by Niti Aayog and government of Karnataka, and make this youth to be further uh, a role model for creating more jobs. And this is what we want to achieve at the end of end of the day. So basically technology will have to play the role of a platform, of an enabler, of the ecosystem building. And some of our work that we have done in past with incubators and with academic institution is working more closely with the youth and the students who are in the universities. And this is very critical for us, that we also help them navigate the path of a career wherein they can become job creators, and they further take the sustainability roadmap forward. And this is what we achieve. As a private sector, we can do little, but I think when we do little, it is done in a collaboration. I think that can definitely create much greater impact. Quality education, which is very crucial for us. And if you look at other SDGs, I think the quality education has the power to make changes and differences for attaining all other SDGs. uh, uh, an educated person would definitely be more aware and informed about her or his rights, and how to achieve further equality, how to attain the fruits of economic growth and get into decent work. And this all can be possible through the power of partnership. So these are few SDGs we are trying to foster. We are certain that with partnership that we have with UNDP, Niti Aayog, and Government of Karnataka, we are further strengthening our contribution to them, and see that how this SDG matrix would be further taken forward through the power of technology and digital inclusion.
Thank you, Gunjan, so much. From your response, it is evident that it's time for all of us across different sectors to put in our concerted efforts to maximize our collective impact in this space. And thank you for highlighting that it's imperative to forge robust partnerships to leverage this massive demographic dividend. Monmi, to you. Globally Sustainable Development Solutions Network, or SDSN, youth and nationally, TERI has been educating young people about SDGs and providing opportunities for them to pioneer innovative solutions to address the world's biggest challenges. What are the strategies implemented by SDSN and TERI for involving youth in the achievement of these goals?
Thank you, Sneha. It's an honor to be here and to present my views on how young people contribute to SDGs, which is the need of the hour. Let me share my slide. I have put it in the form of a slide. Can you see it?
Yes.
I can see it.
Yes, okay.
Would you want to make it full screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, is it fine now?
Yeah, it's not full, but I think it's fine. I think you can go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, is it fine?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, perfect.
Okay. So yeah. So this Okay, let me give you just a brief introduction about the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network. So the network was set up in 2012 under the guidance of the United Nations Secretary General. SDSN mobilizes global expertise to promote practical solutions for sustainable development. And the network leverages global scientific and technological expertise and to promote practical problem solving for sustainable development at the local, national, and global scales. Today, the SDSN as a network has 40 national and regional networks. One of the regional network, the SDSN South Asia, which is hosted by the Energy and Resources Institute in New Delhi. About TERI, it is an independent, multidimensional organization with capabilities in research, policy, consultancy, and implementation. And it deals with issues in right from energy, environment, climate change, sustainability space for over 4 decades now. So SDSN South Asia established in 2014, and it brings together academic and policy institutions from around the region working on the SDGs. The network chair is Dr. Ajay Mathur, who is also our Director General of TERI, and the network manager is Ms. Swati Ganeshan, who manages the whole regional network of South Asia. Let me take you to the slides. Okay. Can you see the second? Does it show SDSN Youth Overview?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the role of youth in contributing to SDGs. So SDSN Youth is a program of the SDSN, and it was established in 2015 to train and equip young leaders with the knowledge and resources to build a more sustainable future. With its networks around, SDSN has a total of around 185 team members from over 35 countries and leads both global and local initiatives. The global initiatives covers a number of sectors, right from say sustainable education, communities, and entrepreneurship. Each program follows the three-step theory of change, that is educate and train volunteers, ideate and collaborate in communities, and implement and scale the solution. So as a youth of this planet, we realize that our stakes are really high, and it is only through action, however little or big, we can change the world for better. Equipped with the modern education and the technological know-how, so today's youth has the utmost ability to and the potential basically to change, to compete with any individual of any age group. So they play as significant roles as building blocks of the society, and have the potential and charisma to effect change in the status quo of the society. So for this reason, precisely maximum engagement of youth is being sought through thematic projects aimed at providing youth with tools to influence and catalyze the environment improvement through effective resource management initiatives, both at the local and global initiatives. The need of the hour is basically, what we have been keeping saying. We have been, going on through this discussion that we, it is essential for youth to play a vital role in leading the SDGs forward, and that also we need to be vocal for global for a global impact. It is with this background that SDSN South Asia was established. So keeping this in mind, the SDSN youth in South Asia has adopted a multi-pronged strategy to catalyze the engagement of young people through institutes and organizations, right from say Afghanistan, Bangladesh, we have Bhutan, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka working in the SDGs. I'm sorry about the car honking. SDSN Youth South Asia has more than 45 member organizations spread across different countries. These are a few of the universities that I have listed here who are actively involved. In India, we have around 19 member organizations, which are either organizations or institutions who are a part of the network. we do have many from South as well, who are a part of SDSN member organization, which basically makes a part of SDSN youth as a whole. So during 2015, when the SDSN youth was launched, the focus was mainly to create awareness about the SDGs, right from say imparting knowledge where competitions were organized on the theme SDGs, and building skills and competency, right from representing at the 11th Conference of Youth in Paris during COP21, to addressing voice of young people on climate change, or to conducting South Asian symposium on SDGs with focus on SDG 12. Then we had enabling action, which these are few of the core implementation techniques that we use. Say enabling action, which was one of the main objective of introducing the SDGs to communities of young people all around the world, and to encourage these young people to take ownership of the goals and explore how they apply to themselves and to their communities. And the last, we have this providing tools, that is as you all know, and we have been talking about it, educational institutions play a vital role in supporting the transformation of the world through sustainable development by being the drivers of knowledge creation, multi-stakeholder dialogue, and so on. So various platforms were provided to the youth to be a part of the larger community. So this was the primary objective, that was to spread awareness about SDGs. But in 2017 we began to pilot interventions such as the SDG clubs and for students, and the SDG campus ambassadors at schools and colleges. So this revolved around sharing of innovative ideas and understanding on sustainability in order to work towards the achievement of sustainable development goals. This actually gave us and informed us how the potential of young people who are most digitally advantaged, full of creative ideas, and most importantly they have a selfless commitment for making SDGs a reality. So these interventions reflected how best practices are shared and taken up at a regional, national, and global level, therefore being one of the mission of SDSN youth, that is to think globally, act locally. We have SDSN. I'm listing out few SDSN youth initiatives where I mean this is mainly to bring all, like we have a quite a good number of attendees here who would like to be a part of the youth initiatives, and who can actually just with the websites, with the whole information, they can actually be a part of the initiatives that has been taken up. So it covers a number of domain areas, right from social entrepreneurship, which is the youth solutions program, then education for sustainable development, focusing on SDG 4, which is the global school program. Then for sustainable communities and sustainable cities, we have the local pathways fellowship program. And the SDG students program here, actually where universities in India, they play a major role, and actually they have been quite active in this SDG students program. So we have created, like mentioned earlier, we have different SDG hubs, and so in India also we have different SDG hubs who work on local issues. So these are few of the initiatives. One of the initiatives that I would like to share, which is done in Bhutan, but I mean, this is what I think, that this is a platform where best practices can be shared and that can be implemented in our own local level. So this is by Mr. Tashi Dawa, the campus coordinator of Royal University of Bhutan, and who created SDG clubs in Bhutan, and where there are more than 500 students and they have become members. So various talks were conducted, and the main the focus was mainly how youths are the future of any nation, and how necessary it is for them to understand the SDGs and to get involved in such kind of global action. So one of the colleges under Royal University of Bhutan, So they have adopted this zero waste policy with the vision to make the campus free from food waste and go a little step closer to achieving SDG 1, 2, and 3. So together, the network has been able to reach out to more than 1,000 students and communities through the SDG hubs. Likewise, even throughout the years, like we said, the idea was to focus more on, current issues and curate activities accordingly, linking it with various SDGs through a series of talks from experts, workshops, quizzes. So one of the unique idea I would like to, out of the many, I would like to focus here was by the, SDG coordinator and hub members at the Terry School of Advanced Studies. And it was, the initiative was called Climate Jamboree. So they set up an informative stall and a gaming zone in which the intent was to spread awareness about the SDGs. The stall employed innovative tools to engage with the youth, such as the pinning the SDG game and a pledge flex titled "We the Sustainable Warriors." The major attraction was the gaming zone, the Go Goals Human Slides and Leather game, printed on a huge flex, and it was conducted in a way that it attracted not just the youngsters, but also people from all age groups. And what we witnessed and what a takeaway from this was that it was further replicated in other schools because it was made of huge flex, and it could be replicated in other schools, and where they conducted sessions to create awareness. And this event in fact witnessed also more than 500 students and across participants across Delhi. Another was the walk for climate emergency on air pollution, which was done last year as in Delhi, and it was organized as part of Al Gore's Climate Reality Project, 24 Hours of Reality. And so these are few initiatives which they have been doing by the students themselves, and the work that they have been doing. So adjusting to this norms of the new normal created as a response of COVID-19 situation, the SDS and youth have in South Asia have tried to transform its learning spaces into digitized mediums to reach out to a large section of its target group. The medium included webinars, discussion forums, opinion polls, Twitter chats, and few of the examples I have just picked up, and these are the pictures of a few of them, like, insights into the COVID pandemic from a perspective of the health workers. And we also had a game night with the Kenyan SDG hub to make the lockdown a little less, lonesome and connect people from two different countries using common ground and sustainability. And there was also India's, hosted a biggest sustainability quiz called the Earthian with more than 300 students.
Sorry, can I ask you to wrap?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
so quickly I would just talk about Terry, because we have been realizing that youth plays a very important role. And so Terry, which is the host of SDS and South Asian Network, so they also have a dedicated area called the Environment Education Awareness Area, and which addresses issues on the specifically on SDG 4 and education for sustainable development. So this is one of the initiatives that we are currently doing. It's called the Youth Climate Conclave. Why, out of the many, why I have put it here? Because this is one of the, it is more to bring about, it's in, envisaged as a competitive mode. And it talks about the, where participants can present their views about issues related to climate change. And, a special session on YCC modeled on COP to the UN FCCC is also held as a part of this, and declaration, a draft declaration, a youth declaration on climate action is also being put up at this forum. And this also can be replicated, and where Karnataka, youth from Karnataka can join hands with us, and we can take it a little further. So another youth-led initiatives that we have is that we do has been the Green Olympiad. It's an online, it's a written examination, but this year we have been, due to the COVID response, we have been doing it online. And it is for the students from classes 4 to 10. And this time, we are also doing it for the undergraduate students. And it is mainly, to test the, environment quotient of students and enhance their understanding about various issues to sustainable development. Same, I would quickly go through it. And next is we have this Green Boot Camp, which is, developed just to, give an overall development through online learning structure. So keeping pace with the changing times, it is essential to provide, youth with productive platforms to work on aspects of socio-economic environment interface.
Ms.
This
Monmi,
includes determination of best practices. Yeah,
Ms. Monmi,
sorry.
this is Dr. Mukund. Request
Yes.
you to sort of wrap up ASAP because we have
Sure. This is my last slide, actually. Yeah. So yeah, so we have been, you can actually get in touch with us. We, last was mainly, how the report, this all is also important to actually put forward what we have been doing, what impact has been created by the youth. So this also have been shared in the youth impact reports. So this is it. And with this few thoughts, I would, like you all to draw your attention to us, the youth and the future of these countries. As a youth, we need to be very much involved and keep having a chance to promote sustainable solutions through our networks and campuses, which are a budding ground for ideas and innovations. Look forward to joining hands with you in creating sustainable solutions. Thank you so much. And I'm really sorry I took
it's
more
okay.
time,
I think it was very, very
and yeah, the
interesting
time
for
is
me.
also. Thank you.
I would certainly, I think we spoke earlier also. I think Rosita connected us, but I just made that connection.
Yes.
When you were speaking. And for sure, it would be great if we could join forces. I think there's a lot of overlapping synergies when it comes to Youth Collab and Movers. And I think we should definitely look into, working together more closely in 2021. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you.
Last, but certainly not the least, Dr. Prasanna, while Terry is working on providing opportunities to youth innovators, the National Institute of Engineering, Mysore, has established India's first SDG Center for Youth Engagement with the support of Karnataka's SDG-CC. Could you please elaborate on the center's vision and the ways planned to engage with youth in SDGs? Thank you.
Thank you, and a very good morning to all of you present here and my co-panelists. With the effort of the UNDP officials at the Government of Karnataka, in particular Mukund and team, Shobha and Dr. Shalini Rajneesh, the Additional Chief Secretary, we have established India's first SDG Center for Youth Engagement at NIE, Mysore. And I would like to present certain slides before you. And this is it collaborates with the partners across the sectors to offer the synergetic opportunities, basically for engagement between academia, industry, and business. All of us know there is a good gap between academia and industry, unlike the other countries, where the goal of is research, recruitment, collaboration, employee education and training, or other opportunities. So as all of us see, we have 17 SDG goals. I need not have to interpret it. This is one of the brief issues regarding the SDG Center at NIE, which we have established last 21st of November 2020. So this is how our deputy chairman of Planning Commission had opened this along with the UNDP officials at NIE. These are some clippings. Now, as you know very well, why should we need a center like this? All of us speak much about corporate social responsibility, but I believe strongly institution social responsibility is one of the mainstays of our the center. It is NIE believes in an institution which strongly believes in providing value-based education because we have started in the year 1946. Many stalwarts which passed out of this institution. One of them is N.R. Narayan Murthy. In order to disseminate the technical excellence to societal needs, the presence of this center is very important. And the vision of this is to utilize available innovative technology for empowering human resources leading to the development for a sustainable society. Let me have share some of the objectives of this center. To achieve sustainable livelihood by utilizing locally available skills and resources through community participation, to create public awareness on the benefits of general education and technologies, to educate youth by fostering become socially responsible citizens. Number 4, to enhance skills and entrepreneurship enthusiasm for strengthening the human resource potential. We have some core plan of action for this current year, even though in spite of global pandemic COVID-19, we would like to have the center inaugurated with the efforts of UNDP officials and Planning Commission. And we need to have an intellectual capacity building for faculty and students on SDG. Our faculty is undergoing a few of the courses offered by World Bank, Coursera, and other platforms for better understanding, because let's say very famous quote in English, don't preach beyond your experience. And to impart knowledge to students through orientation program, already we have started this with a lot of ambition. And we have some COVID-19 awareness program. Directly and indirectly, we are associating in this with the government mission, and including mission distribution of mass, rural sanitation, awareness program for rural population. And we are doing some computer literacy enhancement for rural students, where through our centers of excellence. And we are starting distributing the unused notebooks collection from different parts of the society, and to distribute it to the rural students, and which we have catched up to a very great extent, which was well appreciated by teachers or the end users and even the parents and the students at large. And we are having some adopting villages and training the localites. As one of our panelists has said very clearly, localites on sustainable development models on local resources utilization. In this, we are planning to have this rural sanitation. Already we have visited some tribal hamlets in the Karnataka state. Awareness on power consumption, my own student Aishwarya has said about microgrid. And in addition to that, along with my colleague, Professor K.C. Manjunath, Professor and Head of the Department of Civil Engineering, and Professor Shamsundar, Head CREST, we are associating ourselves from last 2 decades in the social awareness programs. And I'm happy to share on this platform, we are having traffic awareness for students through police department. And we are doing some black spot studies, and we are submitting the same to the National Highway Authorities of India, and to the state government, and to the local government. And as far as fire safety is concerned, we are training school children regarding fire safety management, and awareness on compost for manure, and initial phase of adopting 5 taluks in Mysore and a village from each of them, to disseminate whatever we have done so far, and imparting the state-of-art knowledge upgradation to teachers by partnering with like-minded institutions, like we can say Center for Food Research and Technology, Technological Institute, DRDO, to name a few, and teaching them few tools and softwares for their daily needs to the schools. And already our students are doing it without any receiving, or without any what we call it as the expectation, and youth training and skill development. And in this direction, we are trying to connect with respect to job ready skill enhancement from ITI and diploma students. I'm happy to share again, we have established about 17 centers of excellence. What you're seeing is Center for Research and Consultancy, and we are offering the main services in the department, in the civil, mechanical, and electrical engineering department to the societal needs. Most of the central government, state government, private institutions, and I'm happy to share with you are taking the our technical advice, and they're implementing it and to the better quality life of the society. The second one is Building for Research Center. It is the second center in India. After Roorkee, we have established a Department of Civil Engineering, in particular NIE, where we are training our students, and we are doing the international consultancy also in this regard, for which in order to achieve the related SDG goals of quality education, industry, innovation, and infrastructure facility. Moving on, we have Center for Renewable Energy and Sustainable Technology, CREST, from which Aishwarya had done her project work. And they have done a lot of such very important and fast-reaching solutions to the societal needs regarding, including the rainwater harvesting to the many, including Mysore City Palace, then with respect to the microgrid implementation, and to the solar power, and to the extent of appropriate use of water. Next, we have Center for the Center for Water Resources. Center for Water Resources in the Department of Civil Engineering, and where we have established a field laboratory in the Coorg district, and we are measuring, and my colleague is involved, Dr. Edupati Putti has involved in more than 30 years in the Western Ghats, where we are giving solutions to the recent landslides which took a lot of life. Then moving further on, we have fire safety, the workplace safety and health, where it was inaugurated by our own proud alumnus, N.R. Narayan Murthy, along with Dr. N. Krishnamurthy and Srinath Bhatni. Srinath Bhatni is the former Vice President of Infosys, and Dr. N. Krishnamurthy now is a proud alumnus, and who had done a lot of such related works in the international level, who is settled in abroad. And where we are teaching, or we are educating the workers regarding work safety and the related one. And CMOT, Center for Energy Management and Testing Apparatus, from which we are training our students how to use the electricity with absolute safety. And we have done a lot of such implications, and the quality education related is goal number. Moving further, Center for Material Research Center, where in which we are going to have a quality education through for our students through the fundamental understanding, and the students you are seeing from different colleges and the schools at large. Then NECAT, sorry.
So no, it's great to see that there are so many centers that you've aligned already with SDGs. Yeah. So I think just because of the paucity of time, we would want to like.
Yeah, I'll quickly go
again to share all these experience. If you can just.
I'll quickly go through this like this.
So it's amazing to see all these centers have been now aligned to SDGs.
Yes, all the centers have been aligned to SDGs, and we are trying to extend our the services to the society at large, especially rural sectors. So
I think that is the need of the hour, because I think some questions we have got from our attendees also is how do we actually translate it to the rural community, and I think NIE has taken the next step towards actually doing that for the rural community too.
Yeah, and we have Aisha Center also, we have where we are training our the diploma students from rural sector also. And I heartily welcome all of you to visit NIE to see all such 17 centers of excellence, how we are offering services to this. I sincerely thank Sneha Pathak for giving me an opportunity to share my views.
Thank you, Dr. Prasanna. I think your model will inspire other institutes to set up their own centers for youth engagement, and even your Center of Excellence. It looks like the center will emerge as a thought leader in this space very, very soon. At this point, I would like to bring the session to a close. It was a very insightful conversation, and I think the SDG
Madam,
for you.
I request. I am from RV Institute of Management.
Okay.
Yeah, faculty here. And to brief this, I had requested to send my one more colleague. See, this was a briefing about what we did for SDG at RV Institute of Management.
Yes, sir. I think we're coming down to the next session, sir. So we'll be coming down to you after this, after the Sneha's.
Close, yes. Yes, it just take 1 minute, not even 1 minute anymore. I think I just want to conclude by saying that India currently has the largest youth population in the world. COVID-19 has impeded the SDG progress, and it is critical, even more so now, that we capitalize on this demographic dividend for the achievement of the SDGs to truly make this a decade of action. I will now pass on the proverbial mic to my colleague, Prateek, for the next session. Thank you so much, all the panelists. I really, really enjoyed the session with you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Neha. Thanks a lot. First and foremost, I would like to say thanks for all the panelists for staying on, also the attendees for staying on. We have gone actually away from our planned time. We're above 1 o'clock right now, and I think it's lunchtime. But still, I think the conversation has been so engaging. Our attendees in YouTube and also on the webinar are still staying on, so that we want to hear more important initiatives and insights that has been done across the country. So we'll just have a quick important session actually, because I think some questions have come in the question and answer session also about, okay, we have understood what's the role of youth, how important academia has to actually play a role in implementing SDGs, but what should we do next? So that's the actually a nice segue to this session right now. I think even Dr. Prasanna has given an insight on what an academia can do as a pilot in what Mysore, what they've done with regard to implementing SDGs. So we have few best practices which has already been implemented in Karnataka, as as Mr. Chandran was saying, in RVIM, and we also have a representative from Goa Institute of Management, Dr. Srirupa Sengupta, with us. And also Mr. Sanjay Verma from IIM Ahmedabad, to actually have an interactive discussion right now in the final session. Will be short and sweet right now, because I think everyone is also actually have a lot about SDGs right now, heard a lot about SDGs and why SDGs are important. So my first question is to Dr. Srirupa Sengupta, so who's actually working for Center for Social Action, Center for Social Sensitivity and Action, CSSA, which was established in 2013. CSSA has actually done a lot with regard to integrating SDGs in the curriculum. So Dr. Srirupa Sengupta is an assistant professor at GIM, and she's been associated with the CSSA at GIM. So Dr. Srirupa, from your experience, how can academic institutions play a role in creating mindset for sustainable development in higher education, like primarily about integrating SDGs as part of their curriculum or as part of their own activities? What do you?
Thank you, Prateek. Thank you, Prateek, for the question. A very good afternoon from my side, and greetings from the Goa Institute of Management. I also take this opportunity to thank the government of Goa and UNDP for actually organizing this very timely conclave. It's an excellent conclave, and I've been listening to all the speakers. It's extremely motivating. And I also thank all the panelists, the audience, and the youth for participating in this conclave. Now, if Mr. Prateek can actually share my PPT, I just have 3-4 slides. And maybe that would actually give a very nice insight into what GIM is doing at the level of actually taking and integrating SDGs into the curriculum, and also helping the students to be a part of it. Thanks, Prateek, for sharing. So at GIM, we look at this entire initiative of talking about SDG and getting the youth to actually be a part of this movement, as we think we need to create a mindset and ecosystem and change behavior. And it is with this that we have been working for over decades now. And the whole motive has been to actually create very responsible business leaders. And our motivation towards creating responsible business leaders actually got a fillip, and I would say it got just bolstered when we became partners with the UN Global Compact Network, and we also joined hands with the Sustainable Development Solutions Network. So that in a way also motivates us to mainstream SDGs in everything that we do. And I'll start with the curriculum. Just quickly, we have a couple of programs, 5 flagship programs, and teaching, discussing, knowledge sharing about SDG is part of this every program that the Goa Institute of Management offers. But that is about the classroom talk about it. Now, when we say that, we need to have the youth motivated and be a part of it, we also need to show the youth how you want to be a part of it and what do you get out of it if you are being a part of it. If you can go to the next slide, please, Pratik. Yeah, so we say that at GIM, we've built the campus as a learning lab for the students. On one hand, we have 2 centers. I'm from the Center for Social Sensitivity and Action, which looks into and works on the social and economic SDGs. We also have a Center for Excellence in Sustainable Development, which primarily focus on the environmental related SDGs. Now, these centers are continuously working with with our students, not only sort of in terms of making them aware of the relevance of SDGs, but also through live projects, encouraging them to test it out, that whether what they think about SDGs actually has any impact on the lives of their own. Now, there are a couple of ways that we've done it. We have the waste segregation, we have installed solar panels, there is rainwater harvesting, and we've also set up an energy management system. So anytime we have these discussions in the classroom, we also make it a point that the students actually go out and visit these various sites within the campus to actually see to it what impact it has if you make the SDG goals an inclusive and an integral part of your life. So what kind of changes do you really need to bring about in your behavior as well as in your mindset if you really want to have a clean, safe, a very inclusive and also a very sustainable campus? So the whole motive has been to actually build a sustainable campus so that the students see for themselves how this actually works. Now, going beyond what we have done for the students, if we can go through the next slide. So we have a service learning course and which is called the Give Goa project. Now, this service learning course is something which the Goa Institute of Management has been doing for over a decade. What change we brought about was since 2015, we have told the students that it is not just going to the community and observing the community and trying to understand how the society around them functions, but it is also about helping the society so that they can improve their lives, and also the organizations they work with can improve and respond to SDGs. So as part of Give Goa, these students are assigned to different organizations in Goa. It can be a non-governmental organization, it can be a government body, it can be a community-based organizations where the students go out, study the problem on the field itself, and then they have to come up with a solution. And then when they come back to the campus, they have to then discuss which SDGs are they targeting through that particular solution and what impact will it bring about to the society. So the whole idea is to make the students actually be involved in this journey of responding to SDG by going to the field and working very closely with issues which are addressed to the various goals of sustainable development. The next slide.
Just a doubt here, Dr. Srirupa. Yeah. You have mentioned credit, 1 credit and 3 credit.
Yes. Yes.
Does that mean credits are assigned to students for conducting or?
Yes. Yes.
in this program?
Yeah. So it is part of the core curriculum. We have a classroom session for 1 credit, and then they go out and do this service learning project, which is for 3 credits. Sorry, 2 credits. I've mentioned as 3, but it's actually for 2 credits. So it's part of the curriculum. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yes. And then, sorry, yeah. This I say that we are not only, it's not only the present students who are on campus and learning about SDGs through the various initiatives that Goa Institute of Management has begun, but it is also we invite our alumni who are themselves now young leaders, have joined the industry to discuss how they are taking the SDG movement forward, so that the present students can actually see how the business has incorporated SDGs in the workplace, in their operations, and that becomes an inspiration for themselves. Other than that, the Center for Social Sensitivity and Action have regularly screens movies on various contemporary issues, orienting the students again about the various inequalities that SDGs actually try to address through the vast framework that it has developed. A very important thing that I would like to highlight is we've come up with a newsletter which is called the SDG Samvad. And the newsletter has been to a great extent motivation from the students. In fact, I take pride in saying that the newsletter has totally been designed by the students, and the students in consultation with the faculty have decided the structure, the layout, the theme of the newsletter. The whole idea being that we need to talk more with the outside world. Not only we need to share what GIM is doing, but we also need to build a dialogue with the industry, with the other schools of, institutions of education, and also with the government. And for that dialogue, this newsletter has been launched. And the first issue of the newsletter we launched in October. So that's one, again, a hands-on experience of the youth taking the SDG movement forward. The next slide. Another 2 very important activities, again, completely student-driven activities, which again goes beyond their curriculum. We have about 24 student clubs on at GIM. And again, it started with the faculty giving them guidance, but the charter, each club has a charter. And the students have now aligned the activities of their clubs with the goals of SDG. So the charter of each club very clearly says which is the core SDG that they are targeting and which are the other tangential SDGs that they target through the various activities that, again, they conduct for the students on campus. So the clubs, we see that now this is a peer-to-peer learning on SDGs. And finally, I would like to mention a very good initiative of Samarthan, which is again a student-led club. The Samarthan has actually used the social media brilliantly, again, to campaign on the SDGs. And they are going to run the campaign for 17 weeks. Each week, they are going to talk about one SDG. The whole idea is we have to develop a youth language, a language which youth connects very easily to talk about SDG. And what best can be done other than the youth themselves taking up that initiative. So I'm very proud to present also the work of the youth-led club of Samarthan. And finally,
Sorry, Dr. Sujarupa. Yeah, final thing, yes.
Yeah. We also believe in, sharing the best practices and of course, learning for others. So with great pride, again, GIM is one of the first B schools from India which shared its SDG best practices on this international SDG dashboard. You can actually, it's I've written it on my slide. So it is not just about the reason why we believe in sharing is also only when you share, you build in networks, and these networks are very important to take the dialogue and the movement forward, both at the level of the region, nation and also at the level of the globe. So the SDG dashboard has given GIM that kind of a platform to build more connects and to see
Dr.
to it how best they can do it.
Dr. Shrirupa, this Dr. Mukund, sorry, because we have other speakers. Thank you very much.
I'm done. I'm really, I'm over. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Dr. Shrirupa, for sharing that. So again, excuse to all the speakers for the delay in the program. We're just going to wrap it up. We have one more best practice from RVIM. Before that, I just, based on the discussion with Dr. Shrirupa mentioned, the importance of tracking and having a dashboard, I would like to ask Mr. Sanjay Sharma on the importance of actually doing this kind of data analytics and information analysis as part of SDGs, how important it is that, how important is data analytics for SDGs?
I mean, I assume you mean Sanjay Verma.
Sorry, Sanjay.
Okay. Yeah, fine. No, I thought there may be some. Okay, so thank you, and thanks to all the to the entire team, all the team members for giving me this opportunity. In regards to all the dignitaries who have been present in this morning and afternoon, I will be very quick. I will talk about the role that information technology is expected to play in this field. And I will be very brief for the obvious reason. Since I come from Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, I look at various initiatives from business perspective. Business may not necessarily mean being capitalistic. It means sustaining an initiative. You can, of course, run initiatives. You can sustain them on the basis of money that comes in the form of charity, grants in the form of from the government, or they may come because each initiative generates its own resources. Now, we all know that youth are the ones who have large number of ideas, very innovative. They don't limit themselves in boundaries, very experimentative, inquisitive, and possibly that's the reason why for building up, for developing the nation as well as the world, we have to look at them. When they have multiple ideas, they take form and they come out in the form of hobbies. But if you see in past, you would see it would be very difficult to sustain hobbies because at some point of time, people will have to move towards earning their livelihood. They have to seek greener pastures. Many of these hobbies or ideas would take form of projects in their colleges. And these project reports would die down in the form of those papers in libraries. No one would look at that. With the help of information technology, it's possible to document those ideas, keep them in public forum, and ensure that ideas are picked up by next generation of students, next group of students, where the first group left. And therefore, the ideas see the results. For example, many students who do internship under me and in general with everyone, these project reports don't see light of the day in the form of actual results. With the help of IT, we can ensure that multiple people work at the same time, and therefore the ideas are converted to business. Now, to convert ideas to business requires a completely different orientation. Many engineering students do their articleship or internship under me, and I realize they are very much short of the education or knowledge that would be required to convert it into business. To convert an idea into a business, we need to have an ecosystem where each innovative idea will be nurtured with the help of scientists and professors. Students may not know how to take the ideas further, and therefore technology can help us to build that network where we can bring experts, scientists, advisors from multiple geographies located at different places to advise them to the students. The networks can also be developed for learning and development from entrepreneurs who have worked on similar ideas or have interest in these ideas to take the ideas forward, because at some point of time, ideas would require financing. Quite often, businesses require good buyers or suppliers. Networks can be developed with the help of technology to develop such a group of such people. So basically, I see opportunity of technology in creating such ecosystems. That's one. Second, lot of potential exists, but is not utilized in the field of employment because of lack of opportunities, lack of match or mismatch between demand and supply. Today, when lot of services can be provided over technology, the platform can be used to reduce the geographic distance.
15-20 minutes ಆಯ್ತು ಅವ್ರು ದಾಮೋದರ ನಾನು ಸ್ನೇಹ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. Could we cut short
For
someone?
example, when we talk about let's say food insecurity, on one hand we have lot of crops that get wasted or they are dumped on the roads because there is no demand. On other hand, there are still many products from farmlands which have lot of demand and people are willing to pay good price for that. If we can use information technology to reduce that information asymmetry, possibly we can feed many more mouths. And last but not the least, I would like to talk about is health. We need to give training to the health professionals. We need to monitor the quality of their education. We need to monitor the quality of the inputs that are being provided to patients. And also we need to move from curative to preemptive health systems. Information technology has role to play in all these dimensions. I will not take much time.
Thanks,
that's all I have to contribute. Thank you.
I think that was I think that was exactly what we wanted, because I think even SAP Kodunati actually reiterated this point about leveraging technology. And when academic institutes look to actually engage SDGs like RVIM, like Christ College have done, leveraging technologies to actually monitor and track the impact of whatever activities we are doing is pivotal, because that's when actually it ties up to whatever research we're doing, ties up to actually what the academic is doing and what the state priorities are. So thanks again for that insight. So we just have two best practices before we kind of have the vote of thanks with Dr. A.V. Manjunath, who will be actually giving us a brief of the session. So we have Mr. Chandran from RVIM they've actually implemented the SDGs in RV already, and also we have Ms. Finu Jose through the Center of Social Action, which has implemented the program in Christ College. Wanted to ask you both to quickly share few of your experiences with regard to how SDGs has played a role in your own colleges, and how your own colleges through your Center for Outreach or Center for Social Action have taken it up for engaging students and empowering students. Over to you, Mr. Chandran, first.
Yeah, greetings to all from RV Institute of Management. So I would like to just give an overview what we have done. See, these are all some of the posters what we have struck over here, and this SDG, the poster is always visible to everybody who comes over here. Each program is linked to one particular SDG. Now, how we are going to start with that? See, we have taken the student for a transit walk in one of the villages. So we have totally adopted 5 villages, 6 villages under Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. So it is not just go there and come there. They have to actually go there, transit walk. You go walk along, as Professor Damodar was mentioning, that you have to walk through, know what is happening. So that documentation was done, and it was reached to the concerned village panchayat, and some more was put over there, so that the problem was analyzed. So one of the problem what we came to know was it was on a dental. It is very difficult for them to access to a dental service. I'm talking about pre-COVID time. So we organized 5 dental camps in those villages, and we were able to reach at least minimum 100 to 150 people in every village. It is not only screening, it is also filling, and also for the children to see that a little bit of treatment is given there, so that in case if it is more, they have been referred to the other district hospital. So that was one of the biggest initiative. And in this case, we also have a gender equality, and also we also to reduce the differences. So what we find to tell is, I used the services of one of the person over here who was working in a pantry. Her name was Mamata. So she is the person who serves coffee here. I told her, you do the entire dental camp. So that is how we went to the but inequality to come down, and also to give opportunity to everybody. And the second thing was in the Lal Bagh. Okay, like many children come during the flower show. So one certificate what we made there was, this is a certificate we gave them, and we told the children, why don't you tell me what is SDG 1, SDG 2? The best 5 answers they gave, we awarded them the certificate. So we had librarian Mrs. Anupama and team, they worked on that one. So that was on the Lal Bagh. So to make popular what SDGs are. See, this is a great Indian hornbill. It is in Mysore. So it was World Animal Day celebrated. And when we celebrated World Animal Day, how to see that we are more towards the animals and also life on planet. So therefore, we started working on that. And one of the students by name Vinay, he told, sir, why not we adopt an animal? I told, okay, you pool the money. They brought it together. They adopted the Great Indian Hornbill over there. This is how we started working one by one. And then there is one lady by name Kumuda. She is the only one person who has qualified and become an engineer in Akipiki family. See, Akipiki is a nomad. They start wandering near Bannerghatta. See, like then I met her, and I told her, please come to my college, talk to the students here. And we started working along with them how the Akipiki people go around and then they make. And her journey from what was there on the street, today she's a assistant executive engineer in KPTSL in Jogfal. So that transition we brought, and we also had an interview with them. And then later to that, see, we make a sustainable report. This year, January, it has to be released. So what are all the things we happen? We make minimum 30 programs every year. And all the 30 programs are one or the aligned way to align to the SDG. See, I don't compel the student. I don't compel the student. I just tell them, see, these are all the programs, you can come. One of the biggest challenge, we challenges, see, this is what the students are to take. I will not compel you, but when the girl student go to this team, please report to us at the end of the day where you are, when the time you have reached home. And then there is a escort. So this is how we were able to do and brought the social impact. Now,
amazing best practices, sir.
Yes, sir. I don't want to tell more about it. I just
it's like great to hear about it.
And also, finally, we have been listed into the Limca Book of Records, where we have Professor Reddy here, and it started in 2008. Senior citizens, the digital device, they do not know how to use a mobile phone. And a smartphone was because a challenge. Today, we have trained more than 1,300 people, and it was started in 2006, 8, and that became a landmark into Limca Book of Records. That's how the digital divide also was taken. So finally to round up, we have all the sports. I'm basically a sportsman, and we linked with the sports, and I invited Mamta Pujari. She's the former Indian Kabaddi captain. Okay, and we built a Kabaddi team, and we brought traditional games and cyclothon, marathon, and this was linked to the World Suicide Prevention Day. And every year, like we make it like September 10 is a Suicide Prevention Day, October 10 is Mental Health Day, June 5th is the Environment Day. Okay, so
like you're inspiring me to go back to college now.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I'll get admitted to RVIM now. The number of initiatives you'll be like explaining, like I'll be back to college soon.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. Thank you. That was the brief forward.
Thanks a lot. So now over to you, Ms. Fino-Jose. We would love to hear about Christ College's innovative initiatives through Center for Social Action. Again, it's been a great discussion so far. We've heard so many speakers. So we wanted to hear from you also, because Christ College is right around the corner. You know, I've been working near Dairy Circle for a long time, and we've seen that you've also put up posters and like actually wall paintings around Christ College about Center for Social Action and Environment Club. So please share your experiences.
Thank you, Pratik. Somebody told you that I'm a talkative teacher. That's why I think you put me in the end, and I'm not unhappy about it.
The most inspiring to the last. Most inspiring to the last.
No, it was so amazing to listen to all of them, and I'm just resonating some of them through what my experiences are. Center for Social Action is a 20-year-old student movement, like Shahana was explaining. And we have programs for volunteers, and we have programs for all Christites on campus, irrespective of which discipline they belong to. And that's the charm of this center, that we accommodate all those good stories of people who want to make a difference to others' lives, and that too selflessly. So they don't come here for a certificate, or they don't come here for a credit or some kind of an applause. Some people who don't even make their own beds at home come and do the cleanup drives, which you were talking about, right? So it takes a lot of effort from these kids who are just out of school and they are exposed to a university campus, good infrastructure. But did you take that effort to step out of that campus and make a difference to somebody else's life? And through that, did you change yourself? And that's the good story that Center for Social Action has been doing for the last 20 plus years. And I know we are an infant when it comes to SDGs. We just started aligning with SDGs, though we were doing everything in this area, right? So because that's become a trend now, probably, so we speak about it in SDGs. But from the last 20, 21 years, what we've been doing is everything that is no poverty, zero hunger, women empowerment. So there's nothing that is lacking stories. So when I talk of Christites who are not volunteers, like RV or any other college does, we expose them to life that is not urban, because we are in an urban setup, and that gives them a lot of ideas of how people can sleep on the floor, how people can eat in a stainless steel plate, and what do I do to solve these problems, if at all they are problems. But if they are happy, like Damodaran sir said, indigenous knowledge is very important. What do I gain from that indigenous knowledge? So that's something that we offer as a platform for all Christites. Like Shri Rupa ma'am said about service learning assignments, Center for Social Action is the lab, is the social lab for them to experiment with entrepreneurship ideas for women in our SHG groups in the slum. It is the lab where we link them with NGOs who need help with teaching young children or teaching adult literacy programs. So that's the performing department for the university that gives them a connection to the community. And a larger concept of university is to reach out to community. The academic knowledge that we create is meant for us to develop society around us. That is the universality of education that Christ is trying to emphasize on. And with respect to volunteers, like Sahana mentioned, those are people who are willing to give it their all, that magnanimous heart to perform in a street which has absolutely no stage and no facilities that we have in a proscenium theater. They are going out there talking in a language that they are not familiar with. They are painting walls which were dirty and unlooked after. So there are so many things that students are doing as volunteers, and I think
Great.
that has shaped their decisions for careers in terms of what higher education they want to choose or social entrepreneurship they want to choose. So in a nutshell,
Perfect.
I would say Center for Social Action is a group of good-hearted people who want to
Correct.
give everything that they have. SDG, no SDG doesn't matter, but the
Exactly.
farther we go, I think we will align with those goals. Thank you, Pratik.
So I
Any
think
questions I can answer.
Thanks a lot. I think Ms. Vinu, actually you kind of highlighted a key point of why we're doing this seminar too. There are a lot of institutes, a lot of academia who are already working on outreach, volunteership programs, social programs. And the reason we are doing this is to align to the SDG so that there's actually a clear mandate to these activities, that it's interlinked to the state's priorities or the district's priorities, and it's interlinked to what already government and other private sector are already doing. So I think that's one of the main reasons we are doing this alignment towards SDGs, not only for academia. So when we engage with private sector who are already working, we engage with NGOs, that's been the role of SDG Coordination Center to do this. And for us, our guiding force also has been the planning department, who has led this initiative, and Dr. A.V. Manjunath from KEA has actually been a key part of this integrated planning process, looking at indicators, looking at SDG indicators for the state, and looking at what are the priorities, looking at how do we actually focus on that. So with that, we welcome Dr. A.V. Manjunath to actually, it's kind of, I could say, it's like to summarize this whole discussion which we've had. We've had it for the past 2.5 hours with multitude of speakers. So we have come down to this point of, okay, what is this role of how do we go about in Karnataka to engage higher education institutes across Karnataka? So we had the youth department here. We also had the ACS planning ma'am talking about not only the urban side, but the rural side also. How do we engage higher education institutes for SDGs, and what role planning department and us as the government can play to actually ensure these initiatives through SDGs can be impactful, could be measured, and could be actually impactful. So we would love to hear your insights, Dr. A.V. Manjunath.
Thank you, Pratik. Thank you all the dignitaries and youth for this opportunity. I do not want to take more time. If I take more time, you are hungry. You will be also angry if I take more time, but I will be very short in my presentation. I basically, I think you have all already seen some of the examples of some of the universities already. They are in infant stage, some are in advanced stages of implementation and integration of SDGs into their course curriculum and research activities. I would like to say there are 5 major roles of higher education institutions in educating and navigating students to create sustainable society. I call it as TCMA actually. The first T is teaching actually, teaching role. What is teaching role? Teachers need knowledge so that they can teach students about the sustainable development goals. Education is important to build human societies and adjust to the current and future structural and technical changes. This second role is collaboration. Major strength of universities is the capacity of cross-disciplinary education and research. The challenge is to strengthen the links between education and research and between disciplines. The third important role which higher education should play is evidence-based knowledge actually. Pratik was telling what governments need actually from the higher education institutions. I could clearly say that the governments wants to make a sound decisions based on the scientific evidence to support their decisions. Higher educations can play an important role in this regard because we do a lot of research at different institutions. All of this is most of the as Dr. Shalini Madam is rightly pointed out, most of the findings, policy suggestions, and research output is in the libraries and shelves. But we are not really like bringing to the policymakers, and we don't have a linkage between the government actually. If we strengthen the correspondence with the government so that whatever research you do, I think it will be useful to the government. The fourth important role which is important is, see, what is measured, what is not measured is not monitored, and what is not monitored is not valued actually. In that context, what I could say is measuring and evaluating is very important. Objective is to make state commit to what has been targeted every year till the year 2030 through rationalization of budget. Higher education institutions can measure the impact of different interventions on SDGs, because now we do a lot of training programs, we do a lot of research, but most of our research is in the qualitative format. We should try to also see how we can measure it actually, because ultimately we need to know like what is the impact of your interventions, your teaching, your research on the sustainable development goals, which I think partially which we are not taking into consideration. The fifth is educating. Higher education institutions have high status and are generally respected for their research and contributions to societies. Higher education institutions need to be an ongoing voice advocating the importance of implementing SDGs. These are the 5 major roles actually which higher education institutions should consider actually while integrating SDGs into the research and education. The next important question which Pratik has asked is higher education institutions can use the following steps to start and deepen their engagement with the SDGs. First important thing which the higher education institutions should do is mapping what they are already doing actually. This is the first exercise which they should do. The second important step is building internal capacity and ownership of the SDGs. This is the second important step which all the educational institutions should do. The third is identifying priorities, opportunities, and gaps. This is the third important step which I think every educational institution should do. The fourth one is integrating, implementing, and embedding the SDGs within strategies, policies, and plans of higher education institutions. The final is, which I already explained, monitoring, evaluating, and communicating the research output and outcomes on the SDGs to the policymakers, to the decision makers. With this, I thank Pratik and the team for excellent organization of this event. I learned a lot from this wonderful experiences. Thank you, Pratik. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. A.V. Manjunath. I think you summarized it very well and actually answered a lot of the questions which has been asked in the question and answer session about what can we do next with regard to SDGs in Karnataka. I think this is just a start. So when we called it the SDG 4x campaign, we want to do it in December because this is the next step for 2021. The way we are seeing it is now the best practices that has been shared, the initiatives that have been shared is for us to take it forward with all the academic institutes in Karnataka, be it in the rural or the urban areas. So we are opening it up to all the academic institutes who have participated, all the youth who have participated to reach out to us, because this has to be collaborative. It is there within the framework of SDG that it is a universal collaborative effort by all stakeholders. It can't be done in silos, and that's one of the reasons SDG Coordination Center is actually established. Last but not the least, before we actually wrap, still waiting for us on a Saturday afternoon, which is actually itself such a commitment. Thanks to Ved, Aishwarya and Shana to actually stay through the whole program. Can I actually have few inputs from you about how the program went, and also listen from you, what is your inputs and what are your thoughts before we close up? Over to you, Shana, Aishwarya and Ved. Ved, you can go first.
Yeah. So hi, am I audible, Prateek?
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much, UNDP and all the faculty members and the government of Karnataka, government of Goa for all, sharing, because we have been hearing that you have to give back something to the society always, whatever you get. So today we get to know that there are so many people. It's not just one community, or it's not just one institute, or one body or a government thing that is trying to do something to give back to the society. There is a lot and a whole lot of people who are trying to do amazing things. So it was wonderful to know, what kind of different activities that have been carried out, because when you're studying in one institute, you just know what's happening there. When you come and be part of these events, you know what are the other people doing out for giving back to the society. So it was obviously an amazing learning and definitely an inspiration to carry out more such events. So I have heard 2-3 people saying that it's not that difficult, to walk out and what people are actually going through. So yes.
So now I have a doubt for you, Ved. So you are now in the workforce, right? So
yeah.
Job, I heard you're like you do a lot of internet and social engagement. So how do you going to now take the SDG ka framework or SDGs in your own workplace?
See, there's this interesting thing where every corporate is expected to do CSR activity before SDGs, and so nobody actually tells them like how do you actually use that. So we just think out of the baseline of the profit, we have to give some money to do something. So it's actually nice when you understand there are very simple points in SDGs. All these 7 points, 17 points, if you see, they're not something very different. You have to go out and do something. They're very little efforts. So it's not just, if you ask me, when you specifically ask, what is my drawing on, implementing something in the corporate, I would say I would not wait for my company HR or my boss or my manager to come and say, this is the baseline and 21% is going for the CSR. Rather, we make teams and do our individual efforts, not just waiting to something to come from the management, because they are very simple. Yeah.
Great, I think this, you have given us a nice segue too, because our next initiative is basically CSR engagement. We are setting up a CSR platform with Government of Karnataka, where we are trying to align all the CSR activities with SDG priorities. So I think you can be our champion over there too. You can actually pitch to the corporate that this is what is required. So that's great to hear from you. Over to Shana. Shana, do you have any thoughts?
Yes, sir. As concluding remarks, I would like to say that, that, all of us could always keep in mind while continuing towards SDGs, somehow or the other. I think especially towards the youth population, I would like to say that let's not wait for tomorrow until we're going to become the CEOs of future or going to become professionals or academicians, because right now what we have is time. That is the most valuable thing we have, right? And energy and a lot of enthusiasm. I think with that itself, in one way or the other, we can all, today itself, we can start contributing towards either by spreading awareness or sensitizing or signing a petition against EIA for that matter, or farmers law against that matter, or always we can have enough and more time to volunteer, right? So that is all I have to say as concluding remark here, that, let's not wait for tomorrow and let's start taking action towards creating a better world together with a collective action by creating a greater social impact.
Great. You know, you have given us a nice segue too, because our next initiative is basically CSR engagement. We are setting up a CSR platform with Government of Karnataka, where we are trying to align all the CSR activities with SDG priorities. So I think you can be our champion over there too. You can actually pitch to the corporate that this is what is required. So that's great to hear from you. Over to Shana. Shana, do you have any thoughts? Great. Thanks a lot, Shana. I think that actually concludes very well. Aishwarya, are you able to connect? Sorry. Yeah, please,
Yes,
Aishwarya, go
sir.
ahead.
Yes, sir.
So your final
Are you able
thoughts?
to hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Yeah, the final thoughts were, we have to, our aim is towards, should be towards sustainable development and not just development. So sustainability goes a long way. And also regarding the motto, that is ensuring that no one is left behind, and the 2030 agenda for sustainable development goals is very important. So keeping that in mind, you have to take little efforts and then contribute every time that you step out of your house or out of your office. When you go inside your, you know, um, when you go outside the world, you have to contribute something or the other in your field of interest. So that's what matters the most. That's what I
Great.
feel.
Thanks, Aishwarya. I think that actually sums up it really well. Thanks again to all the panelists, and it was a really inspiring session for me too. Because when we work in development sector itself, sometimes you also get into the number game. You also get into day-to-day activities. It's sessions like this that actually inspires us to do the work we do. Over to Dr. Mukund for final thoughts and addressing any questions from the audience.
Thanks, Pratik. Thanks, Neha. And almost integral to our gratitude and appreciation are all the panelists and the youth who are there. Let me just crystallize very quickly the questions that have come in. A few queries have come in with regards to US Spandana from the Youth Empowerment and Sports Department and certain participants. Absolutely, to the audience, Youth Spandana, US Spandana is a program from the Department of Youth Empowerment and Sports. We will have a convergence with the other departments, and going along, we will be working along with the US Spandana, SDG, CC, UNDP to culminate in SDG realization. Now, the question was, how can we know about SDGs? There was a question from anonymous audience stating that somebody has thrown garbage on the road or plastic on the road. We need to tidy it up. This is a part of SDGs. Absolutely yes, but that is a individual as well as a societal responsibility that has to be imparted and imbibed. So SDGCC is advocating soft skills at the school level. We will be reaching out to the various schools as well as part of our mandate and the program. Pratik, you already touched upon another question from a few audience that they are newly registered NGOs, youth who have come out of college, they have registered NGOs, they would like to participate in sustainable development goals. For all those people, please watch out for our CSR platform, where we try to ensure that no one is left behind in the true spirit of the Karnataka's Vision 2030 as well as UNDP's Vision 2030 in leaving no one behind. Please do follow us on our social handles on Facebook and Twitter, SDGCCKAR. We'll be reaching out to all of you. And for all the youth, we are working right from the Gram Panchayat level. We are doing both because SDG is one for all and all for one. So that imbibes the unity, strength that all the panelists have been talking about. United we stand to achieve. And I think we have just begun the first step here. We will be collaborating, and especially with institutions that are represented by all our academia and Dr. Srirupa especially, we will be reaching out to you separately and try to engage in programs with the academic level as well with all the professors. So thank you very much. You can reach out to us on our social handles. We will reach out to you, thanking all the professors who have participated and all the policymakers and the youth, especially who are integral. We would love to have separate, sessions for separate target audience later. This was a event where we thought we'll just set the ball rolling. We will reach out to each of the vertical individually. Thank you very much once again. Thank you for being a part of this journey and commencing.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks, Mukund. So I think, Mukund, I think as most of the participants are now logging off or attendees are participating off, I think there was a very inspiring video which was shared by the Youth Commissioner, but we couldn't actually share it in the normal course of things. I'm just going to play the video as we wrap up the event.
Yeah, please go ahead. Pratik, in case if there are technical issues, we'll post it on our.
Thanks all. Thanks again. And we'll catch up in the next forum. Thank you again. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.